in the Family Leisure Studios, where family and fun come together. The Relax at Home sale going on now. Right now at Family Leisure, enjoy a game of pool or shuffleboard with friends and family. Relieve aching muscles with a full body massage chair. Chill out and watch a movie or the big game in style with the new theater seating. Make sure you go check out the Relax at Home sale. Family Leisure's 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Now, last night, Memphis Madness was insane. Looked fun. We'll talk to Bryant Dacus here at the end of the hour. He was in attendance. He had to fulfill his duties for Go Tigers 247 as he writes for them. Tigers football is in action tonight versus Navy. We will discuss that, break down what the Tigers need to get done, and we'll do that also at 3:30 with Greg Gaston, who will be on the sidelines tonight for the Tigers. There is a winner-take-all game tonight in the MLB. Dodgers-Giants Game 5. Logan Webb and Corey Nebel is who's going to be starting. The Dodgers ended up pulling Julio Urias, and they're going to start the relief pitcher instead. We also have Thursday Night Football, Bucks at Eagles, and we have continued unfortunate blowback from the John Gruden situation. Derek Carr, the Raiders quarterback, has met the media for the first time to talk about that. So we'll cover that and more during the show. If you want to join at any point, the AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255. Also, watch us live and message us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. But today is a great day. Today is a fantastic day. I get to see Brett Norsworthy live in the flesh today.
Right here. Right here in living color.
How's it going?
Going well, Gabe Kuhn. And when we saw each other the first time today, there's just so much going on. It always is this time of year, but there's a lot going on. We will get to the field manager, the skipper in St. Louis.
Yep, of course.
His ouster, we will get to that. I didn't know that about Julio Urias starting tonight for the Dodgers. And several years ago, on these very airwaves, I suggested, and I did it in this type of situation, exactly, that one or done game, that win or go home game. Why wouldn't you work backwards with your staff? Why wouldn't, in the day, the Yankees not start Mariano Rivera, send him out there for 2 1/3?
Have an opener and then end with your strongest pitcher.
Then here comes the Rays kind of trying to do that over the balance of the year. They didn't do that much this year. Mm-hmm. They got away from that a little this year, but the Dodgers are doing that tonight. The Dodgers are kind of starting backwards.
I found it interesting, though, in a winner-take-all game, when you have Logan Webb, you have Giants. I mean, the Giants more or less ace. I mean, he is fantastic, sinker baller, very good with the slider. You would think that you'd throw out a guy to try to match Logan Webb in that situation, but I guess they decided they're going to go backwards, like you're talking about. Also, you mentioned
I was laughed out of the building when I suggested it a few years ago.
Really?
Yep.
By who?
Rob and Drew called me names. But if I didn't,
hopefully not that bad a name.
If I didn't have this thick hide that I have, it would have deterred mere mortals.
Right.
But I bring it up because they call me names.
And then you did mention Mike Schilt. He will be out with the Cardinals, and also the Yankees have made some switch-ups, none of which have to do with Aaron Boone.
Or Kevin Cashman.
Or Brian Cashman, I was going to say. Kevin Cash.
I got Kevin Cash on my mind,
yes.
And there's no way the Cardinals are getting him.
Right, but they ended up getting rid of a hitting coach, and they ended up getting rid of their third base coach. We'll talk about that in the second hour of the show.
The Yankees fired people today because they didn't like the shirt they had on. And we got to fire somebody.
Well, I mean, there's fall guys in these situations. Yeah. There's always fall guys. But last night, the Grizzlies were in action. Got to play the Pacers. They were at the Pacers, 109-107. And they did not – I thought it was pretty impressive, Brett, because they did not – the starting lineup, Brandon Clark, Zaire Williams, Xavier Tillman, John Conchar, Sam Merrill. Pacers ended up playing DeMontis Sabonis and Miles Turner, so they had more or less their starting lineup in there.
John Conchar had 16.
Sam Merrill dropped 30. Sam Merrill dropped 30 on 8 for 13 from 3.
Sam Merrill pushing for playing time.
Well, I mean, I think without question he'll get the nod and he'll end up on the roster. But I mean, this seems like sort of the Grayson Allen experience, more or less. I mean, I know that there was sort of a log jam last year because of Grayson Allen, but Sam Merrill, if he can shoot the way he did last night, can certainly. I mean, he can get some playing time this year.
I'm going to answer a question with a question. Didn't Grayson Allen work?
Oh, yeah, it sure did. But with who you had and who you drafted with Desmond Bain, and You signed DeAnthony Melton to a 3-year deal. You had to decide who is going to get those minutes. And I think Desmond Bain last year showed that he should be the guy for the most part, getting the first crack at those minutes. I think DeAnthony Melton, though, has some upside that I don't know if people have totally grasped yet.
I want to see consistency.
Of course, but he has been shooting the ball. I mean, past year and a half and leading into this preseason, he's been shooting the skin off the ball.
Down the stretch last year, and look, COVID, man, in 2021, but down the stretch of the end of this most recently completed season, DeAnthony Melton's minutes were not very flattering.
Right. He had the one game against the Jazz that was solid, where he was shooting pretty well, making plays, but the rest of that series, obviously only went 5 games because the Grizzlies won the one.
Game one.
But
I took the bait. I got Grizzlies fever. I was thinking upset.
4 of the 5 games for DeAnthony Melton in that playoff series
tragic.
Were bad.
Yeah.
I mean, just truly bad. But he is very young. He's still 23 years old, so.
I think the Grizzlies from that. He will be better
right.
next April than he in the playoffs than he was last year.
But I would say the Grizzlies front office sees a lot in him, or else they wouldn't be putting him in the situations they're putting him in.
In the Grizzlies front office, they've punched a lot of right buttons. There's only one big miss, and I'll defend them to the end of time. It was
Justice.
worth trying.
Yeah,
that
justice. And you cannot blame them for that one.
Now
Zaire
Williams will be the next big one.
That's what I was going to bring up. Last night he was solid.
Very
19
solid.
points, 5 for 12 from the field. Now, here's the thing with him. He's so young, and we know the upside, but defensively, he has no chance until he puts on weight. No chance. So I think getting to the rack, he's going to, against starting fives of other teams of rotation players, he will struggle getting to the rack against those guys without putting on weight.
If he has any difficulty on the offensive end, you're going to have to take him out.
Right, but he's smooth, and he's 6'8". The jumbo wing is what they wanted, and he's got the shot creation ability. I mean, he can put the ball on the ground, make a move, and put up a shot and make it. So the upside is there.
Much valued long arms.
Yes, the upside's there. But I still, with the draft this year, with what the Grizzlies did and acquiring those draft picks, I say they have to work out for this front office to keep their benefit of the doubt?
Yeah, but they got some in the bank. They got a pretty good reservoir of goodwill. I don't think it can be dissipated too quickly. Gabe, you know the sport now. You know the position now, where long arms almost matters as much as anything.
Right, and we
Left
trash
tackle.
but we trash people with short arms.
Yeah, poor short arm people.
I don't get that though. Because think about, you brought up the NFL, so I'm going to bring this up just briefly before I get to some more Grizzlies news. The best left tackle rookie this year. Have you seen him with the Chargers? Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern.
I hadn't locked in on him. I must be honest.
You know what, Brett? I'm going to be completely honest. He has changed that O-line. He's keeping Justin Herbert upright. He's going out of his way. He was playing against Myles Garrett this past weekend, and he told his coach, "I don't want chip help. I can handle this guy." Talking about Myles Garrett.
And
he's a guy right now. If you go look at power rankings for rookies and guys that are in the Rookie of the Year voting, or in the running for, there's no voting right now, but in the running for Rookie of the Year, he's up there. He's up there as an offensive tackle, and he was a guy 6'4", short arms,
What's
your
the go-to site for stuff like that?
For like rookie rankings and
yeah,
sort of,
the measurables.
Here's the thing: is like I generally go in there and do it myself. And I see the NFL Combine stuff. NFL.com has all of the measurables as far as Combine goes. But CBS Sports does good rankings in regards to rookies.
PFF?
Brett,
Don't. Yeah.
PFF does good work.
Love PFF.
Be careful. I'm just going to tell you, be careful with PFF. They have some good work, but I think most of the time their sort of advanced stats and analytics are a little bit off, a little bit too much.
Yeah, I got some,
and they overanalyze, I think, a lot of the time.
I've got some Ole Miss people really after them. I don't know that they know who Matt Corral is.
I don't know either. I don't think they do. I haven't seen much. I haven't seen them post anything about him this year, really. They love Malik Willis. But they have their narratives that they push, and that's the issue I have. Is I think they overanalyze games a lot of the time, and they also say they watch with O linemen and all of the every single guy on the field. They say, well, we watch every play of every game. There's no way. There's just a 0% chance at the college level you're going to catch every single play of every single game. But I digress. Back to the Grizzlies really quick. The Grizz today have announced they signed guard Ahmad Caver and forward Matthew Hurt from Duke, and they ended up waiving Sean McDermott and Romeo Weems. So I guess they're just trying to
Sean McBucket's out.
They're moving people in and out of the bottom of the roster to see if anything can work out. Matthew Hurt, though, did you ever like Matthew Hurt? I mean, did Matthew Hurt ever do it for you?
I didn't buy a jersey, no.
No. Matthew Hurt at Duke, the athleticism just never seemed to be there.
There's been a couple come through Duke lately like that.
Right.
It's hard to even remember him being there.
Hurt was a guy coming in. People were talking about possibly 1 or 2 and done, and he was there for 3 years, I believe, 2 or 3 years, and it just
you can really get picked apart if you stay that long.
They don't want to draft people that are 22, 23.
You're
Brett.
somebody else's problem.
That. Yeah, I mean, and to credit to the Grizzlies, they don't care. They go get the guy who can play ball. With Desmond Bain, with Brandon Clark, they go out and draft a guy that they think can play basketball. They don't worry about the age of the guy.
It's done so much right, and I think we'll build into it next week. Really, Grizzlies fever going into 21-22.
Yep. Now, real quick before we get in the top, not top, I feel like I've beat this drum to death this week, but it's been developing. Kyrie. It was reported yesterday by Shams the Nets will not offer Kyrie any type of extension. They wanted to offer him $186 million as part of an extension. That will not be offered now. But yesterday, his teammates actually were asked for the first time about if they have talked to him, if they've discussed his decision with him. James Harden was the first at the podium, and this is what he had to say about it.
Have you talked to Kyrie since the decision came down?
Say it again?
Have you talked to Kyrie since?
No, I haven't talked to him.
All right, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, James.
I mean, Brett,
it says a lot.
It's very telling. If you were wondering if his teammates, if you're wondering if Kevin Durant and James Harden, if they're on the same page with him, that tells me all I need to know.
They checked their temperature on it, and they gave their opinion. And that's why the Nets made the decision they made. That wasn't done in a vacuum.
It's just I've been on too many teams to know that, I mean, he is absolutely alienating himself from his teammates. And there's a lot of people that wanted to sort of give it the benefit of the doubt and say, oh, well, they're probably supporting him.
He's a compelling figure, though, for himself.
Yes, and
He is so very well spoken.
Isn't it bizarre, though? I mean, he supports a lot of things, and he does some good work. But I feel like now with the vaccine, he's sort of aligned himself with people that have been against him in a lot of the racial injustice conversations.
It has
and
made
a lot
for strange bedfellows, hadn't it?
Isn't it weird? But hadn't
COVID drawn some different lines
right
across society?
But COVID right now, it's so polarizing that I don't know if anyone can play the both sides coin really anymore. I don't know if the both sides coin is there for it. Is it? I mean, you either get it.
Right now, it is a disease of the unvaccinated.
It is. And I got taught this.
It's overwhelming evidence of that.
The one thing,
isn't it?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
We all read the same newspapers and websites, don't we?
Yeah.
It's overwhelming.
The data tells you go get the vaccine. It's very simple. And
I tell you how crazy COVID has been. We argue over the pronunciation of data or data.
What is it?
I don't know. And we really get dug in.
Potato.
But I loved watching Kyrie and listening to him. I think he is really a deep thinker. Now, deep thinkers can be wrong.
Dare I say too deep?
Well,
and he was on Instagram Live last night sort of talking about it, and he was very clear about his message. He wants to be a voice for the voiceless and that type of thing. But, Brett, does your voice in this situation sort of you're demeaning yourself. Your voice is going to mean a little less, like you're losing credibility. And I was always taught, and I was taught this in college, when you're in the public light, when people are going to write a story about you if you do anything wrong, if you make an ass of yourself once, you're an ass for life. So I just think he needs to it could end up being a cautionary tale of like, okay, I want this voice. I want to be able to portray my voice. But when you make an ass of yourself, that voice doesn't mean as much.
Yeah, it's hard to get it back. A wrong clock's right twice a day.
Right. So
our stop clock is right twice a day.
That's what we'll leave it at for today. That is the Kyrie update. Yeah, that's the Kyrie update, though.
NFL Week 6 starts tonight, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet. Thursday night, tonight, great opportunity to give it a try. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. Tonight, Buccaneers and Eagles. I like both offenses in this game tonight. Love Tom Brady and to go over the passing yards. Jalen Hurts to go over the rushing yards. Not so much Tom Brady in rushing the ball. And the over in the fourth quarter. Fast payouts, easy to use, safe and secure. America's #1 sports book. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet, so lock in your bet today on FanDuel Sportsbook and get up to $10 back if your bet doesn't win. New to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up today with promo code CASH to also receive 30-1 enhanced odds on the Thursday night matchup. Win $150 on a $5 bet. That's promo code CASH, so they know I sent you. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and on the web. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis, and that's Lexus of Memphis. Not far from us, not far from anywhere. They're at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Great offers on all 2021 models, and the 2022s, they are arrived and arriving. And when they arrive, they get sold. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2021 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them up at 901-362-8833. Experience amazing. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Brett, top story of the day for me. Tigers versus Navy, 6:30 ESPN. Tigers right now have grown to an 11.5-point favorite. Now, Navy, the past 2 games under their new quarterback, Ty Lavatai, have played a lot better. But they have had more issues this year than a Navy team's used to. They fired their former OC who had been there since 2008. He was fired after the 23-3 loss against Air Force by the Navy AD, Chet Kladchuk. But then he was reinstated. So he's back. He's a quarterback coach, but that's all he is right this second. They scored 10 points, Navy, in their first 2 games. They scored 20 in their third after firing their OC, Ivan Jesper. And then since then, they've been rolling. They scored 34 in a win versus UCF, their only win of the season, 24 versus SMU in a very close game. They're sort of rolling right this second, but the Tigers have got to get off the schneid. They're back on their home turf. They have got to handle business. 3 games in a row they have lost. They have a young team that's very impressionable. They have to be careful how they approach this game. They have to go out there, get a win, and get some confidence back in that locker room.
If you think we were talking fragility a week, 2 weeks ago, we will really be talking it tonight about 10 o'clock. My top story is key a game, shall we say, must win, as it's been in a long, long, long time for Tiger football. That's because of the success. That's because of the excellence, the high bar that's been set. Tonight is bigger than Mississippi State. Tonight is bigger than Texas San Antonio. Will the crowd for Tigers versus Navy tonight be bigger than the crowd last night for Memphis Madness? I sure hope so. I hope we already have people assembling at Tiger Lane. But why at this point in Tiger football success, how come that program hadn't earned big, steady crowds every single week? It is time for it.
It absolutely is, and
They've earned it.
We need to find a way, even for the lesser names. And Navy has always been one of those names that brings people out and brings people from the city to the stadium. But when you play Tulane, when you play UTSA, they've got to find a way to fill up the stadium a little better, and that's always been something that's a little depressing for me as a former Tiger. When I was playing, I always had questions about why those games, even in a good year, weren't filled up.
Not top story of the day.
My not top story of the day, Brett, has to do with, did you see this story about Overtime Elite? Obviously, Overtime Elite is going to be a sort of preparatory program for a lot of high school basketball athletes. They announced yesterday they're going to have 3 9-man teams based in Atlanta that will compete October 29th through March 25th. All players taking part will take part in 37 competitive events, but these are made up of not all games. I mean, not 37 games. These are prep challenges. Overtime Elite Series League, which will be the games, Pro Sim games, so they'll have those. But then they also talked about takeovers and skills challenges being a part of what these kids in Overtime Elite are taking part in. I just have a question. If this is supposed to prep them for the pros, shouldn't you be having them playing games consistently? These Pro Sim games, those should be probably the main part. Skills challenges are not going to prep you for college basketball or pro basketball.
That sounds like more of a novelty barnstormer.
It does.
Anything than it does really college prep. Count me as opposed.
Right. And we'll see. We'll see how it works out. But if we start to see guys come out of Overtime Elite not ready, I could see this thing folding pretty quickly.
Really, really quickly. My not top story, we talk Lamar, we talk Justin Herbert, we talk Matt Stafford, we talk Kyler Murray, we talk Aaron Rodgers. You know who's number 1 right now in yards in the NFL passing? OTB 12. You know who's number 2 in most touchdown passes? He's only 1 behind to another wonderkin, Pat Mahomes. OTB 12.
Yeah.
15 for Tom Brady, 16 for Mahomes.
Of course he is.
Another area he's really excelling in, his team's 4-1. That's the object, isn't it?
Yep.
And tonight, the greatest ever on Thursday Night Football.
I'm excited for it. He has a thumb injury he's nursing after last week.
Good night of sports farce, isn't it? Tigers, Tom Brady, baseball elimination game. Great night of sports. And I think we'll talk about it here at 4:30 when we break down Thursday night football. We do the preview and our picks. But I think the Eagles might give the Bucs a little more trouble than people are giving them credit for. But the Bucs will be without Gronkowski for the second straight week. Their rush offense has struggled, but TB12 last week, the 4-11 and 5 TDs. I mean, he was unbelievable. And he's done that to the Dolphins a few times over the years, hasn't he? TJ Reeves told us he's more locked in this year in that offense than he was last year at any point.
Well,
we know the big point last year.
That's terrifying to think about. That is terrifying to think about. But those are our top and our not top stories of the day. Coming up here on the other side, we're going to talk with Greg Gasson about the Tigers. He will be on the Tigers sideline tonight for the Navy game. 3:45 at the end of this hour, we'll talk with Brian Dacus, who was in attendance last night at Memphis Madness, about what happened, what transpired last night. 4 o'clock, Keith Smith from the from Yahoo to talk NBA. 4:45, I'm going to bring on a special guest to talk about his book, The Transatlantic Passage, How the English Premier League Redefined Soccer in America. He has a whole chapter, Paul Banks, about Tim Howard, and we are very familiar with Tim Howard in this city. 5 o'clock in a different time slot because of the Navy Tigers game. We had to move a lot of people around, but 5 o'clock we'll have Alan Bell from CBS Sportsline to discuss some of the weekend's action. 5:30 Bucks at Eagles preview and picks, and then we will round out the show with Taco Bell Crunch Time at 5:45. But when we come back, Greg Gaston will join us to talk Tigers.
You have opinions?
The knowledge that I have matters.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
It's hot outside and your air conditioner just quit. Quick, who do you call? Automatic air conditioning, heating, and plumbing, of course, with 24-hour emergency service available. Automatic understands your house is unique, so they work fast to find the right solution for your family's comfort and budget needs. And with financing available and payments as low as $75 a month, it's never been easier to make your home comfortable. Call 363-4636 or go online to itsautomatic.com. Turn to the experts at Automatic Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing.
Maureen saved big shopping epic daily deals at Amazon. So now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. And with her brand new tableware, everyone's welcome at Maureen's table. All of her family, friends, even her neighbor with the pet. Hey, has anyone seen a ferret around here? Found it. Dig into Amazon's epic daily deals. Spend less, smile more.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back in on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Keep texting the show, 901-360-8255. And you can also watch us live and message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56WHBQ.com. Big tilt tonight. Tigers at home against Navy. It will be on ESPN. So for that, we bring in Greg Gaston. Greg Gaston from the Tiger sideline, brought to you by South Hall Cafe, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, Mid-South Hobbies, 3A Collisions, Neil's Bar and Grill, and Wilkinson's Liquor and Wines. Greg, how's it going?
It's going well. Look, I don't have to tell you guys, especially you, Gabe, how important this game is, riding a 3-game losing streak, which hasn't happened in a long time, and I can't even fathom a 4-game losing streak. And a chance to fall under 500. This is big tonight for the Tigers. Look, it's big for Navy as well. We know it's going to be a very important game for both.
What would you like to see the Tigers get done tonight that they haven't in the past 3 games? Besides a win, obviously.
Ball security.
Ball security is number one. We were talking about it today on middays. What do I think the issues are with the Tigers? One, obviously, has been the turnover. The turnover rate, it's alarmingly large. Tigers are usually the team that causes turnovers, forces turnovers. It's not happening. They're turning the ball over, and they're not causing turnovers. Number two is pressure on the quarterback. Look, this quarterback's not going to throw. Just if he has to, he may throw it a few times. But we know what the triple option offense is all about. But just to get in there and plug the holes, stay in your lanes, don't fall for all the little wackiness they'll do before they hike the ball, and just be physical up there. Look, Navy's always going to be physical, but they're never going to have the biggest guys in the world. This isn't like going up against Georgia or Alabama. So the Tigers need to show their strength. That front line on the defense is a veteran front line that has not really done their job. Let's be honest. They don't get sacks. They don't get pressure, and that's important. But I certainly think keeping the ball, holding on to the ball, because, again, if you turn the ball over, then Navy can put one of those long drives together. And it doesn't happen much in college football these days, but it certainly can happen with the Naval Academy when they run the ball the way they do.
And, Greg, when they get into that mode, when they get into that 6-play, 7-play, even chewing, now lopping off 4.5, 5 minutes is considered a long drive, it almost gets hypnotic, doesn't it?
It's frustrating, too. I remember all the years watching the games against Navy and watching Navy get the ball back when the Tigers are trailing and you're just desperate for another chance on offense. And Navy is going to run the clock. They're going to take 5, 6, 7 minutes off that clock. You hope they don't score in the end, but just the way they can control that clock is painful, to be honest with you.
Something that's very evident to me sort of watching the past 2 weeks, and obviously this week, as far as a defensive game plan goes, you can't do all that much. You have to just stay gap sound and do your thing, tackle the dive, just do all of the right things. But with the turnovers, this was to be expected, I think, offensively with all the young guys at the very big positions, O-line, quarterback, running back. Defensively, I think down the stretch, chances have to be taken, and they have to stop being sort of scared of the big play.
Go wholesale. One time. Go wholesale on the blitz.
Right.
Well, your point's well taken, Gabe, because you do have a lot of young guys. You have some veterans on that offense, too, but you have a lot of young guys, especially when you talk about the most important position out there on the field, and that's the quarterback. And when you think about the turnovers that the Tigers have committed this year, a lot of the times it's been fighting to get the extra yard. We saw that happen a couple of times with Brandon Thomas. We've seen Seth Hennigan try to make a play, tuck the ball, then lose the ball or get hit and get the ball knocked out of his hands, although he's been very good with his touchdown to interception ratio. But, yes, on the other side, this veteran defense, this defense that was expected to take a step up, has not forced turnovers. Now, they have scored 2 touchdowns, which is pretty good, but they have not really forced the issue with big tackles to jar loose a ball or pick off passes. They just seem to be a lot of times in the position to make the play and not be able to make the play. So they need to step up their game. But again, you're going up against an offense that you know exactly what you're getting in the triple option offense. They're not going to be sitting back there chucking the ball 30 times. This isn't Mississippi State. You're not facing Will Rogers is going to throw it 60 times. Yet it still can drive you crazy. But as you said, and I said earlier, stick to your game plan, stay in your lanes, stay with your assignment. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. When you do that, that's when they can exploit it.
Greg, I think I noticed it when you first came on. There's a difference between that good kind of nervous, kind of for opening night. Maybe the Tigers had it for Mississippi State. But I sense from you and from around town, there's that bad kind of nervous for tonight. Because
that's interesting.
With a Tigers loss, we have uncomfortable conversations that we haven't had to have in a long time, and I don't want to have them. Go win where we don't have to have those conversations. Do you sense that unease around?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I never thought about that, the kind of good nervousness and then the alarming nervousness, the worrisome nervousness. Now, here's
the good nervous is asking the pretty girl to dance with you.
Yeah.
The bad nervous is me having to stand up in church and do a solo.
Now, here's one thing I think that the Tigers have going for them. Vegas, they pretty much know what's happening. They're good at what they do. This just in breaking news. They don't always nail it, but the line keeps going up and up. And I'm thinking to myself, really?
The
way the Naval Academy has played the last 3 weeks, they lost to Houston by 8 points. They beat UCF, and then they lost to SMU by 7. And now Vegas sees fit to make the Tigers now 11.5-point favorites. So there's something that they see that they figure the Tigers can exploit Navy, especially with the Tigers' offense, which is still way up there as far as numbers are concerned. So I put faith in Vegas that they know what they're talking about, but it's hard to spend your hard-earned money and lay a bet down on Memphis to cover. Now, I think the Tigers are certainly in position to win the game, and I think they really have to win this game. But to win by a couple of touchdowns against this Navy team, they won 10-7 last year in Annapolis. I'm not so sure about that. The way you win by double digits over Navy is Navy has to make some mistakes, and they normally don't make a lot of mistakes.
Greg, a frequent conversation that I've heard is about receiver-wise, playmaker-wise on the offensive side of the ball. You want to see the ball get into different hands, but if Calvin Austin keeps doing what he is doing, regardless of if they're game planning against him, it's hard not to force feed him.
Every time that guy steps out in the field, especially as the season goes along, we go, well, the game plan's going to be to double team him. They're going to get physical with him. He's a little guy. How much physicality can he take? He may be the toughest guy pound for pound on the team. He goes out there and puts up 200 against Tulsa, and they were tugging at him. They were grabbing him. They were holding him. I'm starting to think, guys, that Calvin is the real deal. And when I say real deal, I'm talking about a guy who can be in the shadow of a player like Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying he's Tyreek Hill, but that type of player that he will go to the NFL and he will prosper. I don't know how you stop this guy the way he's playing football right now, and that's knowing that there's not a lot of options. Sean Dykes is certainly an option. Javon Ivory has stepped up, but there's not a ton of options on the offensive side, and Hennigan looks for Austin an awful lot, yet they still can't slow that guy down.
If you can't stop it, keep running it.
Right.
Exactly.
And with the run game, past couple games, it seems to have slowed down a little bit. Is there some injuries going on along the offensive line?
Yeah, they lost two starters. In the last couple of games, they've had backups in there. They've had to go deep with the depth on their offensive line. They also had to go deep with their running back depth. Brandon Thomas did not play in the fourth quarter of the game at Tulsa, but he is listed as the starter for tonight. You have Dree Clark, who got hurt early in the game. In fact, the first Tigers drive, he got hurt at Tulsa, and he was in a walking boot the rest of the game. He's listed third on the depth chart. Again, I don't know. They're very close-lipped with the injuries, but I can't imagine that Dree Clark would be available tonight. So you're looking at guys like Marquavius Weaver that needs to step up, Asa Martin. And they didn't use Colin Watkins a lot last week, and that was on the heels of the big fumble into the end zone against Temple. I'm not saying that that's the reason, but he didn't get the totes that he got in the Temple game in the Tulsa game. But they may have to also use him a lot depending on what the situation is with Thomas. But hopefully that this depth chart means something and that he will be able to go tonight.
Greg, late in the Tulsa game, I didn't have a good feeling watching it, and then as it moved on, I thought the Tigers are gonna try to pull this out. They couldn't. The special teams woes have really been highlighted.
There were so many years since the resurgence of Tigers football, I guess for the last 7 years or so, whatever the case may be. Yes, where the special teams have been some of the best special team units in the entire country, not just the American Conference. The Tigers have been able to win games or at least get an assist, and Gabe, you can speak to this, by their great special teams, whatever it may be, punt return, kicking, punting, punt coverage, kickoff coverage, all of it was fantastic. Well, it's not the case right now. And the kicking situation, you give Joe Doyle credit because he's the punter that came from Tennessee, and he kicked the 5 field goals in week number 1 to help him win that game against Nichols, and he was the special teams player of the week. But since then, it has been a problem. Young Kemp got his first playing time in the game against Tulsa, albeit it was very, very windy. I can attest to that. But that shouldn't be an excuse for missing an extra point. And then he misses a few field goals as well. Doyle missed another field goal. You're leaving points on the field. And when you do that, especially with all these single-digit games that the Tigers have been involved in, you're going to come up on the wrong side.
Do you have any, before we transition to Memphis Madness, do you have any inkling of how they may handle the kicking situation going forward?
I think he's going to probably give Kemp another shot. I don't think you you close the book on the guy after one game. He's home tonight, his first home game. I hope the young man, who's come in pretty heralded from his high school days, but has had to deal with these injuries, and I know that they were hoping he would be ready sooner. He was not, so that's frustrating for everybody, but especially for him. But I hope the young man gets that opportunity. He comes through, and then he starts to gain that confidence, and you don't have to worry about the kicking game. But we'll see. Ryan Silverfield, again, I thought that when Thomas fumbled at Temple, making it 2 weeks in a row, that he wouldn't play the rest of the game. And I know Wolo and Jarvis said, no, he'll get back in there. I said, I got a feeling. And then Ryan Silverfield said after the game, look, if you're not helping me, then I'm going to get somebody else in there who can help. He's paid to win games, and he's paid handsomely to win games, not to stroke egos. So we'll see. I would expect Kemp to start. If Kemp doesn't start, then wow, he's already pretty much done after just one game.
So last couple of things for Greg Gaston, at Greg_Gaston on Twitter. Last night we had Memphis Madness. What'd you think of the whole thing? Was it fun? Are you and Moneybag Yo close now? Are you guys tight?
Yeah, what's the other rapper? Heavy? Was it what was it? Heavy G or
Big
something?
30.
Big Homie G.
Big Homie
G.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what Eli was calling me today. So I guess that's my new moniker, the Big Homie G. Okay, I wasn't there for the whole entire thing because if I was, I don't know how I would have got home, prepared for the show, got some sleep, had to eat dinner still. So I stayed for a while there. The introduction is my favorite part, and I love it because those young men and those young women have a great, great time. And, of course, Penny driving in with one of his many, many vehicles that he has at his house, that Polaris deal, that was beautiful, and that was a lot of fun. And, look, rap music, I'm sorry, it's not my cup of tea, but it is the cup of tea of those players, a lot of those fans, and especially those recruits. So I'm all for that. Moneybag Yo did a nice job. He put on a show. The actual basketball itself needs to be tweaked. They need to do something because they had events, as you guys know, where it was a skills competition, and somehow Willie Kemp was involved in one. I mean, something's not right when Willie Kemp's involved in that. You know, Willie was a great player when he was here. He's a terrific human being, but he's not a player anymore.
Yeah, but you really can't line them up and make them run line drills for the fans,
and
though.
Cody Topper got involved, right, in the three-point contest.
Cody was shooting threes, and then he was shooting half-court shots, and they couldn't. It took like 10 minutes for those guys to make a half-court shot. But the thing is that, like, the clock's not running when we're trying to, hey, how long has it been for this skills competition? Where do they stand? They weren't really announcing where the standings were.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit confusing as far as that's concerned.
But it's
I'm
a
sure
fun
the
night.
Yeah,
very.
Yeah, and I'm sure the scrimmage was fine. Like I said, I was gone by the time the scrimmage came along, but you knew exactly what you were getting. No defense, a lot of offense, a lot of fireworks for the fans to jump out of their seats. So mission accomplished, and they had great recruits there.
And it was
fun.
Fans and recruits is what that is for.
The night, was not for our demographic, Greg. It was not for 60-year-old men.
Gordon Lightfoot was nowhere near FedEx Forum, so
the wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald, I just don't think would have gone over last night. Speaking of which,
not have been.
Gabe, I think you've incorporated it into some of our rejoin music. I'm hearing some Grateful Dead for some rejoin. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have one. Yep.
Greg, do you know who the front man for the Grateful Dead is right now?
Well, is it not Bob Weir?
I don't think so.
Bob's still not with the group? I thought Bob Weir would still be part of the Grateful Dead.
No,
I actually saw the Grateful Dead at Cole Fieldhouse.
No,
in College Park, Maryland.
I had a friend of mine that took his sons to see him in Chicago, and I asked, I said, who's the lead guy? It's John Mayer.
Huh?
John Mayer?
Wait, what?
This
is news to me.
Is that right?
Next thing you're going to tell me is Willie Kemp's going to win the skills competition.
No kidding. I mean,
news to me.
You know, was Foghat booked last night?
John Mayer?
I swear that's what he told me. Did I hear that right?
He's got velvet tones, guys.
Singing
he
Casey
can sing.
Jones.
I mean, I like John Mayer, but I mean, I just don't think
I didn't see him as a dead guy.
Taylor Swift's going to go over at Dead concerts.
Man, oh man!
Y'all help me out if I heard that wrong, but I mean, I know he told me that, and I was stunned.
Well, you have a lot of times with bands that have been around forever, and they lose members for either death or retirement or illness, and they replace sometimes with legendary figures. For example, the Eagles with Vince Gill in the group. Vince Gill is part of the Eagles, so I guess it's not shocking that it's John Mayer. I just didn't think it was John Mayer's music. his type of music.
Yeah, I didn't. John Mayer does not strike me as the deadhead. I
No.
didn't see that
Me
one
either.
coming.
Okay.
But he is Greg Gaston.
That's where we end, Greg. Top that, anybody.
Brought to you by South
Thank you,
Hall
Greg.
Cafe, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, Mid-South Hobbies, 3A Collisions, Neil's Bar and Grill, and Wilkinson's Liquor and Wines. Greg, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
You got it.
John Mayer.
Help me, Brian. Is that
This
accurate?
is unbelievable. This is.
So I heard that it's now Dead and Company is what he is a part of.
Okay.
So it's different. It's not the
Well,
Grateful Dead anymore.
okay.
Because,
Well, you were onto something then. You got.
I mean,
sounds
if I
like you got-
understood right.
Sounds like you got
I
the
could be
correct
wrong.
information.
I was stunned.
But he is with the Grateful Dead. It's Grateful Dead and John Mayer now. So you were right.
Grateful Dead and
That
John
doesn't
Mayer.
add up now. Come on.
It really doesn't make much sense. But when we come back, we're going to switch from Tiger football to Tiger basketball. We just sort of finished there with Greg on Memphis Madness. On the other side, we talked to our producer, the one and only Brian Dacus, about what he saw last night. What are his takeaways? We do that on the other side right here on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
It's a new show with a new time. But Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane are back with Sports 56 Grind Time. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Guns & Ammo has a full line of Pro Shot products, a tremendous selection of accessories from belts, holsters, gun cases, specialty boxes, Benchmade knives, and assorted optics. At Guns & Ammo, enjoy selecting all your favorite firearms, from hunting supplies to target shooting to self-defense. Experience the excellence at Guns & Ammo with a friendly, knowledgeable staff and hundreds of guns to choose from. Guns & Ammo, 3615 Summer Avenue, Memphis local, and supporting the NRA and Friends of the NRA. Guns & Ammo, family owned since 1985.
The Relax at Home sale's going on now at Family Leisure. Enjoy a game of pool. How about shuffleboard with friends and family? Relieving aching muscles with full body massage chairs. They're the coolest. Chill out and watch a movie. Or the big game in style with the new theater seating. Also on sale, we got spas and saunas and patio furniture. It's the Family Leisure Relax at Home sale. Going on now, I-40 and Wynn Road, Family Leisure. Where family and fun come together.
Corky's is your home for authentic Memphis barbecue. Our dining rooms are open, or stop by our speedy drive-thru. Order your party packs today, starting at only $5.99 per person.
Barks now offers you just about everything you need for your furry family member. Daycare, luxury boarding, award-winning grooming, veterinary checkups, diagnostic services including digital x-ray, fluoroscopy and ultrasound, complete dental service, vaccinations, preventative care for fleas, ticks, and heartworms, and just about any needed surgical treatment. And did I mention that we treat cats and all types of exotic pets? We are the newest member of the Barks family and the newest, most high-tech veterinary hospital in the Mid-South. Located directly across the street from Barks and Recreation, we are a full-service hospital with a fantastic, experienced staff. If you're having problems getting a timely appointment at your current vet's facility, we are here to serve you. Call us at 901-979-8888. Barks and Medication. Excellence in veterinary care.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
I've been moving calm, don't start no trouble with me. Trying to keep it peaceful is a struggle for me. Don't pull up at 6 a.m. to cuddle with me. You know how I like it when you loving on me. I don't wanna die
I'm sure this rejoin is a guy that a lot of the recruits
That ain't going to Lightfoot.
and the players would love to have performed last night. We got a lot of performers last night, though, at Memphis Madness.
It looked like fun. That's what it's supposed
absolutely.
to be.
Moneybag Yo,
It's
Trip
not
Star
made
BGE.
for 60-year-old season ticket holders.
Yeah, no.
It's made for
I
recruits.
don't. Big Homie G, Big 30, NLE Choppa. I don't know if there's a lot of 60 plus,
Nah.
of the 60 plus
Not
crowd
many.
that enjoy that.
That's okay.
But last night, it looked like a whole lot of fun. Penny pulled up in one of the most, the coolest tricycle I've ever seen in my entire life.
The meanest machine since Lawler pulled up in the Batmobile at game day.
I heard it's called a Polaris Slingshot.
Polaris Slingshot, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I saw Jason Munns from the Commercial Appeal report that.
I'm asking the question: is that street legal?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Whoa.
Yeah. I've seen them around.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen.
They're getting more popular.
I've seen them get driven around. I don't know how fast they go. They sort of look like one of those.
I wouldn't want to go too fast in it.
Coach Hardaway has hit every tone perfectly. Now the tough stuff starts.
Right. It
But
absolutely
Brian,
does. But
Eyeball test. This team's going to win every airport award all year, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. They're big.
Are they
They're
bigger
huge.
than the Grizzlies?
I wouldn't know if I'd go that far, but they're big.
Big, long,
Big,
athletic.
long.
The bigs are as big, aren't they?
And I saw last night Amani Bates took part in the dunk contest,
Yep.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
Looked plenty athletic to me, didn't
he's
he?
fine.
Hey,
Yeah, I mean, the thing, and I've been saying this since those measurables came out, once you see his athleticism in a game, you're not going to worry about the athleticism.
And how many times in the past have we talked about strength and athleticism of certain guys? Kevin Durant was a guy who couldn't even put up 135 on a straight bar benching. So it's just like we need to slow down, especially with 17-year-olds.
I know what he can do really well, though.
Huh.
Orange ball through an orange goal.
Yes, play basketball.
Yeah.
He tends to do
Might
that
not
well.
be Vasily Alexia at the 72 Olympics in Munich lifting stuff over his head, but he really played basketball.
So, Bryant, we know you do work with Go Tigers 247. What recruits were in town last night?
So there were several. Chandler Jackson from Christian Brothers, he was in town. A handful of others. Zion Cruz was there, which he's a 4-star big guy. He's actually, we've talked about this off-air, Gabe. He's going to Donda Academy, Kanye's new school out in California. Commit Noah Banchelar was there on an official visit. And there was a handful of other guys.
Fun at Kanye's school.
Man. He was wearing a Donda hoodie last night, and it was, I was freaking out.
You wanted one?
Oh, I almost went and stole it off his back.
The one recruit last night that people were sort of goo gagaing over was DJ Wagner, obviously DeJuan Wagner's son, and he's a number 1 overall recruit, right?
He's number 1 in class of 2023. Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, I've been around long enough to I've lived 3 generations of Wagners, Milt, DeJuan, and now
we're there.
The newest one.
Hey.
That might be a sign to move right on along.
we need you.
I told Milt Wagner one time playfully, totally playfully. I said, there's a time I really hated you. He said, I get that a lot around here.
That was big to get DJ there last night.
Yes.
That was huge.
Yeah. How in the mix do you think they are for DJ Wagner?
It's going to be tough. I mean, Kentucky, especially with that history there, it's going to be tough to beat Kentucky
Cal's
out
got
on that one.
a pretty big lead.
So as far as the acts go, we had Moneybag Yo, Tripstar BGE, NLE Choppa, Big 30, and Big Homie G. Is there one more? Or is that it?
There was a dance group. They were there. They performed twice, I think.
What act do you think had the crowd most alive, most electric?
Moneybag.
No
yes.
For sure, Moneybag.
Moneybag is...
Was it the beat, or was it because he's hometown?
He's
both.
He's huge. I mean, you can go anywhere and he's big.
One of the biggest rappers in the game.
I think
now.
it's also just because he's home.
He's a local, and he has blown up, Brett. I mean, he is.
I love
he
it.
is so,
isn't it
so
great
popular,
to have that talent,
national.
have that ability? And again,
it was ridiculous when he came out.
Okay, so I'm going to bring this up, and I know we're going to get to the top of the hour break here in a second. But Big 30 came on, right? And I heard that there was a free shiesty chant going on.
So he finishes his set.
And for
help me.
Okay,
I don't
Free
know.
Shiesty, Pooh Shiesty is another Memphis rapper, and he was actually arrested, and he is incarcerated right now for
several charges.
Yes, shooting someone in the butt. There's actually a video of it. Shooting someone in the butt during an armed robbery.
Yeah.
So
the Free Shiesty is kind of like Free Britney.
No, not the same thing.
He finishes.
We need to free Brittany. We need to free
Listen to
Brittany.
this, Gabe. He finished his set last night. He did 2 songs. He's about to walk off the stage. He goes, "Yeah, Memphis Madness. Now on the count of 3, I need everybody to go poo or free shiesty."
And
he goes,
everybody.
1, 2, 3, and everybody goes free shiesty.
Oh, they responded in unison.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I mean, that's
great.
exactly what I'd expect, though.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly
yeah,
what I'd
they're like
expect.
brothers. So.
Absolutely.
Free Brittany, free shiesty.
Chime in at the AutoZone text line if you have anything to add to this conversation, 901-360-8255. When we come back, we switch to some NBA talk. We bring on Keith Smith from Spot Rack and Yahoo Sports to do that. We'll be back on Sports 56 98.5.
Memphis's oldest restaurant, Coletta's, was established in 1923 to give Memphians the best Italian food possible. And I'd say they got it right. They are the creators of the barbecue pizza. It was Elvis's favorite, and I know for a fact that a large will feed one person all weekend. If you need to feed several, though, Coletta's caters any event. Choose from homemade lasagna, ravioli, Alfredo, primavera, and so many other delicious items you can't help but enjoy. Impress employees or clients and treat them to Coletta's for lunch or dinner. Plan ahead and get your holiday party booked at Coletta's. Elvis's favorite place to go eat with his buddies at the South Parkway location, and Coletta's even has an Elvis room dedicated to him. Call Coletta's on South Parkway at 948-7652 or Appling Road at 383-1122. Coletta's. It was Elvis's favorite, and it should be yours too.
Stay tuned for Coletta's 100th anniversary coming up soon.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Visit Frontier Western Store this summer to check out tons of new products. Frontier added so many new items in their women's boutique. There are daily arrivals with thousands of on-trend tops, jeans, and pants in stock at amazing prices. And guys, Frontier's your #1 Carhartt store. There's no one around with a larger selection of everyday fits and workwear. Wrangler and Ariat clothing also available. Frontier recently remodeled their entire store and expanded the world-famous boot showroom. Now there are even more dress and work boots in stock. After Ariat boots, then you've got to check out Frontier. There are over 1,000 pair of Ariat boots alone, and thousands more in other brands such as Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, and Twisted X. As if the selection isn't reason enough, there's Frontier's low prices. Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so when you're ready for your next pair, you know right where to come. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Farmers want to make sure you got your favorite things covered and will give you a discount for doing it. Their auto multi-policy discount gives you up to 45% off your auto insurance for bundling policies like boat, motorcycle, RV, home, and life. It's just one of the many ways that you can save with Farmers. Call Daniel Chad Gallen at 901-235-1176 to learn more or get a quote.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available with select Farmers branded policies subject to terms and conditions. Underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges, Farmers New World Life Insurance Company or affiliate.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that PIN, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time. As simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back in and rolling. Hour number 2 is here on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats.
One more question about last night, since we had the texter asked yesterday. Had a friend of mine text me, was Little Nas Stats there last night?
You know, I asked. I was walking around saying, so when does Lil Stats perform? And nobody really had an answer for me, so I don't know.
What would Lil
Not to be confused with Lil Nas X?
Yeah.
What would Lil Stats perform? What would he perform?
I'd go old school.
Okay.
I'd go Motown.
Oh.
Love it. That would be a switch up of all switch ups. If you
A
put that in
curveball.
between Moneybag Yo and Big Homie G, I think that would be
Break into the Springs.
You think people would start walking to the exits?
Break into the Jackson 5.
But before we bring on Keith Smith, our friend from Yahoo Sports, and Spot Rack want to sort of give you the rundown for the rest of the day. We're going to have Keith Smith here in a second, 4:30. We're going to talk about some baseball. Mike Schilt has been fired, or let go at least, from the Cardinals. The Yankees have made some decisions in regards to their future. Dodgers-Giants Game 5. 4:45, we're going to talk Paul Banks. He has a book out about the English Premier League and how it has redefined soccer in America. We'll talk to him at that point. 5 o'clock, Alan Bell from CBS Sports Line. Not his normal slot, but we had to move things around with the Tigers and Navy game being a Thursday night game. So he will join us at 5 to talk about some of the weekend betting lines. 5:30, Bucks at Eagles preview, Thursday night football, and we'll give you our picks. Then 5:45, Taco Bell Crunch Time. But without further ado, let's bring on Keith Smith, our friend, contributor to Spot Rack and Yahoo Sports, at Keith Smith NBA on Twitter. Keith, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
So this morning, I saw the news of Marcus Smart, and I know that you cover the Celtics very closely. What is the situation there right now? Is it have to do with missing a flight, or I know that he's being suspended for a game?
Yeah, all the team has shared is that he was suspended. It's going to be handled internally. Woj from ESPN reported that he missed a flight to Orlando. That would make sense. The team did come down to Orlando just the other day to play here, and then they moved on to Miami. He was there last night. He did work out with the team before the game. He was not going to play last night anyway. He was being sat out due to like a veteran rest day. But now he won't play Friday. He's going to be suspended for one game. And basically everybody said, hey, it's in the past. It's behind us.
Right.
And we're all moving on.
Yeah, and on the not big deal things over the course of a season, that's not really that big a deal, is it, Keith?
It isn't.
Yeah, you hope not. I mean, it's certainly not ideal. You don't really want to start things out that way or anything like that. But yeah, it's certainly not a big deal.
If you're going to have it happen. I loved it in the day when Rob Fisher would tell me about from the Grizzlies charter. That charter wasn't leaving until Zebo got there, and sometimes they had to wait. But even when Zebo knew he had extended it a long time, he'd always show up with plenty of wings and ribs for everybody.
Yeah, we've all heard of those ones where you get into a position where there's a couple guys that it'll wait a little bit longer on, and then some guys where, hey, it's wheels up and catch up with us when we get there.
They'll leave the radio guy in a second, but they're not leaving Zebo.
Yeah, no doubt, absolutely, yep.
So Brent and I ended the show yesterday sort of talking about the Zion situation, and there's no fixed timeline. It's being reported when Zion's going to return to the Pelicans. And I saw a picture today. I mean, I don't want to read too much into it, but it was 2019, him during media day versus 2021. He looks a little bigger nowadays. How concerned should people be, should the Pelicans be about what's going on with Zion right now?
Yeah, I think you need to be concerned for sure, because one is any kind of big guy, even one who's carrying extra weight like he is, when you have a foot or leg problem, those things can linger. It's something that can stick around for a while. And so that's always a concern there. You have the fact that there is the worry that if he is not able to maintain his conditioning, that he may put on some weight and things like that. And that's also a challenge. So I think it's something that you need to really kind of keep an eye on there, because it does start to, become worrisome that this is now 2 out of the last 3 years that he's had some injuries to start the season.
Do you think part of it, though, I've read reports of him not being necessarily happy with where he's at with the Pelicans. Do you think part of it is unhappiness with the organization?
A little detached?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, he said all the right things at media day, that's not a thing, and that would have been an opportunity to, say, hey, I'm not real happy. I don't want to be here, and he didn't go there. So
right.
I'm not entirely sure that's where his head is at. I just think he's injured, and they're trying to figure it out.
Keith, one time I brought this up. We were just having really fun, good time with the Powerball's expense. Powerball got up there to $700-800 million, and I said if I won the Powerball, if I could buy any NBA team, of course that wouldn't buy one now, but if I could buy any NBA team, I'd want to own the hometown team, the Grizzlies. Second for me, it would be in New Orleans, to be that person that finally delivered that city out of the basketball wilderness. Can anybody deliver in that town? Do they notice? And as that hurts some of the young talent to get down there, and you're stuck on page 4 behind LSU football and the Saints.
Yeah, there's definitely truth to that. I think as you look at it, so you're talking to the guy who lives in the middle of college football country here in Florida.
Sure.
And there are times when the Orlando Magic, they're the only pro team in the Big Four sports in town, and there's times where they might be the fifth story, of the day, unless they're really playing well. Is because here you guys know how it works. You're in college football land as well. It's college football until we get to about Christmas or so, maybe a little longer if your team's doing really well. And then here in what we face in Orlando is the soccer team, the Orlando City soccer team. If they're really exciting and ready to go, everybody's going to jump on them as soon as they start up in the spring. So it's definitely a little bit of a challenge. Now, in New Orleans, it's very similar type situation. You're battling with LSU and the Saints, as you said, and then hopefully you're good enough and can attract. But I think that it's one of those situations where they have much better fan support than I think the average person gives them credit for. They do well as far as selling out their arena. They're at the same percentages as everybody else is. They invested in the squadron. But I think what's most important is Gail Benson has said they're not going anywhere. And she's already made arrangements for when she unfortunately eventually will pass along. But she's already made arrangements that when that happens, the team will be given to people who are going to be
the Minnesota language.
They have to stay. Yeah, a little bit. Absolutely.
So, Keith, I promise you I'm not going to ask you your take on Kyrie Irving and the whole situation, but I do want to ask you
You've
about
not ever been asked that question, have you, Keith?
I want to ask you, though, about the Nets in general. Without Kyrie Irving in the fold, where do you think they rank in regards to sort of power rankings in the NBA? Are they still the overwhelming favorite to go and win the NBA championship, or are they behind some teams?
Yeah, my kind of read on this has been they're no longer overwhelming favorites, but they're still the favorites. Mm-hmm. I think that's how good Kevin Durant and James Harden is. But then when you look at that roster around those guys, they are very, very deep. Mm-hmm. It's really a lot of good players together there, and they've got good depth kind of across the board. So it's not that they're not going to miss Kyrie Irving, and it's not that He's not a great player because he absolutely is. But what it does is or let me rephrase, they're still in a great position. But what this does is it removes that margin for error. When you have those three great players, if somebody, Durant or Harden rolls an ankle and is out for a few weeks, you're okay because you still got the other two. Now you're just a little bit closer to the pack with everybody else, and I think they're still the favorites. They're just no longer overwhelming favorites.
So would Patty Mills be the guy now if Kyrie Irving can't go? Is he the guy that would probably fill his spot in that starting lineup?
I don't know if he's start or not. He's been a guy who's come off the bench for so many years now.
Did a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He's somebody who, if he was really going to push for it, you could throw him in the mix for Sixth Man of the Year. But what I think it does is they now have the ability to play some different ways because they could go with someone like Bruce Brown and go with a defensive wing in that lineup and not have to stress Harden, Durant, and Harris in that way. If they're playing against a team that goes a little bigger, they could open with a couple bigs and actually go with something like Aldridge and Griffin or Paul Millsap in that opening group, so something like that. So I think they're going to be in a position to play a lot of different ways, and that's I'm putting a little bit of a silver lining on it because clearly you'd rather have Kyrie Irving in there, but I think they're okay, and I think Steve Nash has a bunch of different ways he can play.
Keith, last year, one of the darlings of the regular season and into the postseason. Injuries, certainly big factor for their early exit. How does Utah and Quinn Snyder back up that year?
Yeah, they unfortunately have kind of hit the point where the Milwaukee Bucks were for a couple of years where they can win 70 games, and I don't know that we're going to care all that much. I think we're all kind of to the point where, all right, show me in the playoffs. Because we've seen it now. We've seen this story, and then you get to the playoffs, and it doesn't quite work. Now, I think they're going to have another great regular season. I think their continuity is really going to help them. I think they've added some really nice bench pieces as they kind of retool this thing on the fly to keep it moving forward. I think Donovan Mitchell's got another step he can take, but they've got to hit the playoffs with something different that they can go to. And that, for me, that doesn't mean benching Rudy Gobert and getting all crazy. I mean, we saw Rudy Gobert take it to Team USA and really put them kind of on the verge of, really having some trouble in the Olympics. So he can certainly play and be fine out there, but you just got to have some different things that you can go to because you can't, if they come back and they have another disappointing early exit in the playoffs, then I think we're going to start seeing some major changes in Utah.
So going from a team that accomplished a whole lot during the regular season to a team that really didn't accomplish as much as a lot of people thought they would, and obviously there was an injury in the middle of the year with Jimmy Butler, but the Heat this year, they retooled a little bit, got Kyle Lowry in there, PJ Tucker they added. I think Markieff Morris is another guy that they just added. How well do you think they will compete in the Eastern Conference, and could they potentially win it?
I'll answer the last part first. Yeah, I think they can win it. I think in the regular season, people may say, what's going on with this team? They did all this stuff, and they're sitting there in the 4th or 5th seed or something like that. And I think it's just because they know what they're built for. They're built for the playoffs. They're not going to push Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, or Kyle Lowry overly hard at their ages with the amount of miles that all three of those guys have on them. So I think you're going to see a team that they're certainly going to be pretty good, and they'll be right around that home court advantage, group behind Milwaukee and Brooklyn, and then we'll see they're right there with. Let's see what comes of the mess in Philadelphia, but Boston, they're right there in that group with Atlanta as well. I shouldn't leave them out. They seem to be perennially kind of forgotten here. So I think the Heat will be good, but it's really about the playoffs for them. And I think you're going to see them do some tweaking to that roster as the season goes along. Because right now, what they're really missing is Tyler Hero is a pretty good sixth man, but after him, the rest of that depth is a little bit shaky. So we'll see, if they identify what their needs are and do what they can to get those filled by the time the trade deadline rolls around.
You mentioned a lot of Eastern teams without mentioning the Knickerbockers.
Yeah, I think the Knicks they're in an interesting spot. I think in some ways they played a little bit above their heads last year on both ends of the floor, but I think that will be offset by they added some pretty good talent this offseason. Their thing is they've got to make sure that guys fit well together and that they make it all work, because otherwise they're going to have a little bit of trouble figuring that out here. Now, I think they can, and I think they're going to be pretty good. I think the other teams in the East either are going to be much healthier or they just got much better, and I think that's going to be where the Knicks will have a little bit of trouble.
And they got the Magic back in the Garden last year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that series against Atlanta with Trae Young embracing that Reggie Miller villain role, that's the good stuff. That's what we want to see more of.
And part of the thing with sort of projecting a Tom Thibodeau team, it seems like when he takes a job, he starts very fast, and then slowly the team starts to get figured out. His style starts to get figured out. And I think that's part of the thing you have to take into consideration is knowing that he does start fast and slowly fizzles out mostly everywhere he's gone.
Yeah, what happens with, I think, Tibbs is he asks a lot of his players. They're going to play a very aggressive style of defense where it involves part of the reason, people think they may take a step back is they point to they defended the three-point line better than anybody else in the league. And generally the thought is there's a lot of randomness in that. Mm-hmm. But Tibbs teams historically have done pretty well defending the arc. But why is he pushes them to close out hard. You got to run out there. You got to get out on shooters. And if you're not doing that stuff, you're not going to play. He also is famous for he puts a heavy minutes load on his main players. They're going to play some of the highest minutes amounts in the league per game. So I think what happens is once you get into year 2, 3, unless you're continuing that upward trajectory,
it's old.
It just gets hard for guys to buy in.
Yeah.
And so moving to the Grizzlies, I think we get into an echo chamber at times here in Memphis and hearing, well, the upside's there. We made these trades for the future. From an outside point of view, how should the Grizzlies be viewed?
I think they're still, even though they've been right there in that playoff picture the last couple of seasons, I think you still have to take a wider view of them, that they're still an up-and-coming team. They broke through earlier than anyone ever could have expected 2 years ago, and then they built on that last year. And I think what you want to do is say, all right, well, now get into the mix for home court advantage, those kind of things. And I think that misses some of the context. So they're really way ahead of schedule from where anybody thought. Now, you don't want to step back and say, hey, it's fine if you win 25 games, because that's clearly not okay either. But I don't want it to get lost that they can still have a successful season, even if they're right around the 500 mark and still fighting to get into the play-in grouping, because the West is so deep with good quality teams that it's just not as easy as it may seem to kind of jump in there and make those steps up. It's not incremental like that all the time.
Golden State win 50-plus games?
We'll see. They're probably going to be right around the 50-win mark is my guess, as long as they stay relatively healthy, and then they're going to get Klay Thompson back sometime, probably shortly after the first of the year. And the guy that I'm really excited about is Jordan Poole. This guy took a big leap last year. I don't know how many people noticed because it got kind of lost in Steph Curry playing out of his mind, and then that team not being all that great. But he took a big step forward last year. He's been phenomenal in the preseason. He's been absolutely fantastic. I think they really did good work on fixing their depth. So I think the Warriors have a chance at being pretty good. Whether they can get all the way back to being title contenders or not, that's probably going to depend on their matchups in the playoffs and health and all the other things.
Who is a bottom rung team from last year that you think can come out and surprise some people this year?
The easy choice, I think, becomes the Chicago Bulls in that situation there, because I think people kind of look at it and say, all right, well, they added so many teams. Could they really take a step forward? I think a team that fell out of things and didn't make it deeper into the playoffs than maybe it looked like they were going to at one point is Charlotte. They're dealing with some injuries, so they got to get past that, because their depth is good but not great. But if they can get past that, I think they have a chance to be a pretty good team. And in the West, I see a lot of people counting out the Spurs. And it's just, I've learned over the years, anytime I say, yeah, the Spurs are done, this is the year they really fall completely out of it and they're towards the bottom of the league, I end up looking like an idiot. So I'm going to wait and be a year late on that one versus trying to be a year early.
But this is really the year the Spurs do that, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they might actually be all right.
Yeah.
I think they've got a lot of good young players that a lot of people don't know. I know Greg Popovich, by all accounts, is extremely excited to work with this young group. And I think sometimes when you have young guys that have kind of had at least some success early, which some of their younger guys have, I think that gives you something you can really build off of. So I think they're going to surprise some people. I'm not saying they're going to be, a for sure playoff team or anything, but I don't think we're going to see the Spurs at the bottom of the conference like some are predicting.
Keith, the next time we will talk to you, the season will be underway, and we will already have scrapped all these preseason predictions.
Here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how it works, right? We'll after just a couple days of games, we'll know everything by that point.
That's right.
And he is our guy on the NBA,
Thank you,
Keith Smith from Yahoo and SpotRack. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
You got it.
Appreciate it. So
we got a lot of predictions to make next week.
In that question, when I talk about being in an echo chamber here in Memphis, because I think
it's
sort
easy
of
to.
there's a lot of groupthink on a lot of things, and just anything when you're in a local market, you start to get in that echo chamber. You have to sort of understand. I get what he's saying about the outside view of the Grizzlies. I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios you could see playing out during the year. Injuries could be killer, as they have been with Jaren Jackson Jr. not being able to participate fully since he's gotten into the NBA. But I think we need those views a lot of the time just to see how the rest of the league views the Grizzlies at this point.
It's always good to have somebody maybe not as prejudiced, not as jaundiced as we can be. Sometimes we may even look too critically at them.
Right.
Familiarity breeds contempt sometimes, and we love having Keith with us. Look, tonight the Tigers. I know Tiger Lane already bustling. I hope you stocked up with the commissary, either place, the new Collierville commissary, Houston Levy and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. I know if you're in the suites, you're going to have some good commissary tonight because that's who does all the suite catering. Walker Taylor and his team, they do it, and they do it out of love for the University of Memphis. Memphis-style barbecue and ribs, delicious, authentic Memphis-style great food. And if you're craving an easier way to order, well, they have it. Start that order at commissarybbq.com or text commissary to 33733. All the great food, the ribs, the shoulder. When I mentioned the appetizers, you can make entrees out of the appetizers, tamales, the barbecue nachos, the smoked chicken wings, all so good. The barbecue nachos invented at the Germantown Commissary almost 40 years ago. Tonight or tomorrow night for high school football, this weekend to game watch. If you're going up to Knoxville, go packed with commissary barbecue from either the new Collierville commissary at Houston Levy and Poplar or the original in Germantown. Save room for dessert, and coming soon, time to get on the list for the holiday bird. 901-754-5540, online at commissarybbq.com in Collierville and in Germantown.
When we come back, a lot of baseball to discuss. Giants-Dodgers Game 5, winner go home for both of those NL West teams, the two best teams in the MLB this year. We also have some firings that are very, very interesting that we will have to discuss on the other side right here on Sports 56 98.5.
Hi, everyone. This is Greg Gaston. After 16-plus years coming to you during the midday hours, Eli Savoy and I have moved to the morning drive. You can join us weekdays from 7 to 10 a.m. for the all-new Sports 56 mornings, only on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Louie's Deli and Meat Market in Arlington, you'll not only see the quality in their meats, but you'll taste the quality in every bite. Got a tailgate party or backyard get-together coming up? Let the folks at Louie's put together a deli meat and cheese tray. Louie's carries only the finest deli meats and 19 cheeses to choose from. Louie's is now hiring. Search their Facebook for full and part-time positions. Visit Louie's Deli and Meat Market, located in Arlington, 11695 Highway 70, just a quarter mile east of Highway 385. Veteran-owned Louie's Deli and Meat Market. It's quality you can see and taste.
It's hot outside and your air conditioner just quit. Quick, who do you call? Automatic air conditioning, heating, and plumbing, of course, with 24-hour emergency service available. Automatic understands your house is unique, so they work fast to find the right solution for your family's comfort and budget needs. And with financing available and payments as low as $75 a month, it's never been easier to make your home comfortable. Call 363-4636 or go online to itsautomatic.com. Turn to the experts at Automatic Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass. Mount Moriah Auto Sales. What sets them apart? Great selection, quality, high-end to low-end cars, and low mileage. Mount Moriah Auto Sales is under new management. Ask for Emmett or Steven. Check out their great selection of cars or trucks. Choose from Dodges, Jeeps, Fords, GMCs, Infinitis, Porsches, Range Rovers, Lexus, Mercedes, BMWs, even Bentleys. Mount Moriah Auto Sales also has a great service department with 12 bays for everything from oil changes to alignment to new tires. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Pick out your like new car or truck today. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner and right on the price. Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. When we put them in nice packaging, we don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
So we have a Game 5, and of course, it had to be Giants versus Dodgers in their first ever postseason matchup against each other. But the interesting news of the day, and we'll get to the firings of Mike Schilt and some of Aaron Boone's assistants, but the news of the day in regards to what's going on the field is Julio Urias, who was fantastic during the year, one of the top 5, top 10 finishers, I think, for the Cy Young, for the NL Cy Young. He has been pulled, and Corey Nebel will start in his place against Logan Webb, who pitched to Jim in Game 1 of this series.
We see Urias tonight, though, don't we? At some point,
you would imagine. Unless they pulled him for like shoulder, elbow discomfort, something like that, which you never know. It could be that case.
If we don't see him, then it may be something injury related, like
exactly.
you're alluding to.
So I was dumbfounded when I saw that, because you have Logan Webb out there going. You'd figured you'd want to match that, but
Webb's going to pitch in the strike zone in that big ballpark. They're hoping the wind's blowing in.
Yes, and they're going to go with an opener. I wouldn't imagine Nebel get more than 3 innings, 3-4 innings.
If it's a complete game, I'll be stunned.
Well, I think that's completely off the table. He'll be on a pitch count, no question, but I'm sure they have a plan behind him. But if Urias is not hurt, I'd imagine he'd be the first guy in.
And
right?
Everybody's available.
Oh yes,
there's no tomorrow. If you got to bring Max Scherzer out there in the 17th, you do it.
And Logan Webb, though, I don't know if he's a guy who gets enough credit for how good he is.
Always in the strike zone.
And when you
slider.
And when you square him up, you're not really hitting home runs.
And you're sure not there. And I know, boy, this will get the AutoZone text line going, because I know it's like waving a red cape at Toro, try to appreciate Barry Bonds doing what he did in that ballpark, in that weather, in those dimensions, and that wind not blowing in the same direction from a single flag. It's amazing.
Try to appreciate that. I'm glad
and people won't.
Got to put that caveat in there. Try to.
And to go out and consistently do it, nobody's done it since. And I know the testing, but anyway.
Steroids be damned. What he did is unbelievable. I mean, I remember going out there, and just to think about his on-base percentage during that run, how many times he got walked.
The base runner he was. The defensive outfielder he was, but nobody wants to do it. Okay, so he wasn't that nice a guy to the media and wasn't that nice a guy in and around town. I don't care.
Yeah.
Really
well,
great ball player.
I do think there's something to be said about being nice to your local.
I do too.
Local media and local fans.
But you
and
put up
being
those
a stand-up
numbers.
guy.
I think he's the second best player to ever play. Babe Ruth won, Barry Bonds too.
And it's a shame because he didn't need steroids. He didn't need it.
He
did not need that
he was
extra
gonna walk
advantage
into the Hall of
easily.
Fame before he bulked up.
You think he still would have got? He probably would. He'd have been in a 500 home run club easily, even without. Right.
Just with that quick bat, and then he got the girth and.
He tried,
dug the long
and you know
ball.
what, Brett? He tried to wear the loose sleeves and tried to wear the loose-fitting clothes and the uniform to hide how swole he was under there. But
he was.
Yes, I mean,
his dad was the same contrarian to media and to people around, and really there was a lot of sins of your father taken out on Barry Bonds.
And
how Bobby was.
I think I've told you this. I went out there for a Cubs versus Giants game as a kid. Sammy Sosa versus Barry Bonds. That was one of the more. I mean, that is. It's still remember it. Still remember to this day. Sammy Sosa hit a Oppo home
in that
run.
Ballpark.
He hit an opposite field home run into McCovey Cove. That you don't see that now.
I love
don't.
that ballpark.
Oh, that ballpark's absolutely
it's perfect.
Beautiful. But the wind does gust pretty good. But it usually gets wind stays away because of the way it's built, especially in right field.
Yeah, it's not.
Wind doesn't really
like
come up
Candlestick.
over that. Yeah, it doesn't come up over that right field wall and really gust.
First,
you get it up in the air though.
The only time I ever went to Candlestick, I'm not kidding you, Gabe. That afternoon, 78, not a cloud in the sky, short sleeve. That night at the ballpark, by the end of the game, you needed an overcoat.
Yeah. It gets cold in San Francisco, in the Bay Area in general.
It. I thought they just don't know what cold is. They know what cold is.
Fall into wintertime, it is freezing.
Yeah.
And it's because it's a little, you feel the I guess it's the sort of wet cold.
Mark Twain weighed in on it. But
right.
Really great ballpark.
But the only way in that ballpark you really feel the wind is if you hit it up in the air pretty high. You got to get some air under it. And then you'll start feeling that wind.
Mike Schiltz says he was surprised. Were you? He said he was shocked.
That he got canned?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's out. I
wasn't shocked.
I'm shocked because you look at what he did, and it's not performance-based. John Mozeliak said today that it's because of philosophical differences. But it can't be performance-based, really, can it, Brett? I mean, 252, 199 regular season, 3 postseason appearances. Granted, not if you're talking about Cardinal history, not memorable postseason appearances. You got to the CS one year and got swept by the eventual champions in the Nationals. But the 17-game win streak. But
yeah.
He set a franchise record to get them into the play, and it's not him; it's the players on the field. But he's part of that team, and they did set the franchise record for a winning streak this year. So this surprised the heck out of me, Brett.
It didn't me, and I wasn't calling for it all summer. Just if they hit the real off the tipping point, I thought it would happen. And Gabe, coming back from COVID, there were a lot of empty seats at Busch Stadium this year.
Mid-season is when I thought, okay, there's no doubt Schiltz out.
Yeah, around SEC Media Days, I was surprised he made it through July.
But to see what they did, sort of the back half of that schedule, last 30 games of that schedule, it blows me away. I
don't think a great roster.
Better than most. Better than most.
Some big pieces.
As far as your hitting goes, yes, you probably need a little bit more. Tyler O'Neill played above his head this year.
Sure did.
But you do have Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado, who every year you have to expect a lot out of. Those are perennial all-star players. But I mean, pitching staff probably not the greatest. I don't think it's the best, the best roster, but it certainly isn't the worst.
So he kind of maxed out on what he had.
I think 90. What did he go his first year? 91 and 71. I think that's a fair for what he has
gave
had.
Him the good
that's
deal
fair.
based off of that. And that was a honeymoon period coming off the firing of Mike Matheny. Now this is 2 firings in a row for the Cardinals. That Bill DeWitt likes to say we don't fire managers like a lot of people do. Well, now they kind of are.
But Brett, I think the more surprising thing for me is where are they turning? Who do they go get? Who's the next guy in line?
I want an established big name. I don't want the Mike Matheny template.
Do you want it? Do you want a throwback coach? Do you want a guy? I mean, you saw Dusty Baker, Tony La Russa, what they did this year. Do you want a guy to come in who has that type of experience?
I would love Buck Showalter.
It didn't end well for him in Baltimore. He did win for a little bit.
It never ends well for him wherever he is. But he got Baltimore to the playoffs.
But that last year, oh my gosh.
It turns ugly on him, and he's never won it. And usually, after it turns ugly on him, the next guy in behind him does really well. So maybe he kind of reverse psychology there. But I love Buck Showalter. You know, the Cardinals had a chance to get Terry Francona when they hired Mike Matheny. Huge mistake. Now with the value of hindsight.
The name that is the most obvious out there for me would be Stubby Clapp. But I feel like they just did that with Mike Schilt, a guy that's been in the organization, a guy that won with the Redbirds. And obviously
he didn't win anything close to like Stubby won here.
Yeah, but Stubby had 2 league championships in a row, runaway league championships in a row. So
won 90 games one year.
Yeah, so I think he did win 90 games one year. So I think that's the name that you turn to.
Does that sell tickets? I love Stubby. Does that sell sweets and boxes and corporate signage?
Maybe more than Mike Schilt, right? More than Mike Schilt.
Maybe, yeah.
But it's sort of the. But isn't it
What's
the
the
same?
craziest name you've seen mentioned?
Isn't it the same career arc though?
Pretty close. Yeah.
Similar
career guy.
And with the Redbirds,
played
won
the
with
right
the
way.
Redbirds, and then would be elevated.
I would love it if it was Stubby Clapp. I would love it, but I think you can aim higher, and you know he'll say yes, right?
Yeah, he would absolutely.
All right,
say yes.
So let's get some no's first from some bigger fish.
You asked crazy names though, right?
Oh yeah, we've seen them.
Yadier Molina. I saw that mentioned out there.
I threw one at you, didn't I?
I saw Adam Wainwright thrown out there. You threw one at me, Albert Pujols.
Why not?
Out there?
Why not?
You want Splash that Splash.
Here's why you don't know any of those 3. I'll never forget when they fired Whitey Herzog in the summer of '90, and I'm in St. Louis like the week after, and Mike Jorgensen was the interim, but you knew he wasn't going to be the permanent skipper, and Mike Shannon was really going for it. He wanted to be the manager, and Bernie Miklasz wrote a column that resonated. Don't do it, Mike. Don't take it.
Yeah.
We can't hire you. Because if we hire you, you know what we got to do? We got to boo you.
If it goes bad, we have to boo you.
We got to second guess you, and we may have to fire you. And we'd rather drink a Budweiser with you than have to fire you.
And that's the thing you have sort of constantly said about Penny Hardaway as well. I mean, there's a double-edged sword to going and coaching where you played.
Well, I saw it here with Larry
You're
Finch.
You're a legend until you're not.
And to see how that ended was heartbreaking.
Right, but you're a legend until you're not. If you go back and do take the job. And I think Bernie, that's a good point that he made, and I'm glad that didn't turn out that way. But the reason this Schilt firing gets me is because I just don't know where exactly they turn. And Stubby Clapp is the one that makes the most sense.
And unlike college football, you're not going to go out there and blow somebody out of a current job. It's just not done. You're not going to go out there and wave all kind of money at Joe Madden and get him.
You brought up Kevin Cash, and I don't know if the Rays aren't moving off him. I think he has a contract through 2024. That would be fantastic. Kevin Cash would. I mean, he talk about winning ball games,
but it's not realistic.
Yeah, but I don't know where they turn to right this second. And Stubby Clapp seems like the main name.
What about a guy like Brad Ausmus?
I mean, that's fine.
I would have loved to have AJ Hinch.
Not terrible. He's in
Detroit.
He's in Detroit right now.
Yep. Took the job after Osmus.
How does that work if he wanted to jump ship though from Detroit?
I don't think you can. I mean, I just don't think they have that flexibility like these college football coaches. And I think it's a kind of a pact between those owners.
Mm-hmm. I guess
and contract law.
I could get behind maybe Brad Osmus. That's a possibility. But they have a lot of work ahead of them in regards to finding who they want to replace.
Larry Walker, never been a manager, kind of in the Mike Matheny mold.
Mm-hmm. Did you like how Mike Matheny, how that ended?
I didn't like it because I loved him, but I understood it. I wanted it to work for him, and I think he will be good in Kansas City someday.
There was sort of behind the scenes issues with him and
Yeah.
free agency and not being able to bring in free agents and such. So that I didn't much appreciate that, and I don't think that
Bruce Bochy, he's out there.
I think when you're looking at the Cardinals front office, they're going to want more new age, right?
I just don't know now.
Yeah. This year, to your point, last year's hiring cycle was weird, with Tony La Russa coming back, Dusty Baker getting back in it, and I still contend the only reason Dusty Baker got hired is because you had to go completely opposite of what they had going on.
He got it before last year, remember?
Or yes,
he got it for
correct,
the short sprint.
Yes, but
A.J. Hinch
they had
was
to
out
switch
there
it up
last
completely.
year. That's when Detroit hired him.
But he's out.
With the Schilt firing now for seniority in the National League, Mike Schilt didn't have a lot. He was 8th. It makes David Bell now is 8th. David Ross in Chicago is now 9th out of 15.
How
in
long
the
do you
National
think
League.
he'll hold that job?
I don't think it's
they're in
gonna
a
end
rebuild.
well.
That's the problem. The rebuild coach, the coach that's there during, or the manager or coach that is there during the rebuild never lasts through it. I mean, it's very rare to actually see that.
It'll be
I
interesting
like
to see.
David Ross, though.
I do
like
too.
David Ross a lot.
And he's
I thought
beloved by them.
I thought he was great in the booth, too.
He was.
He was very good in the booth. Also, as far as firings go, the Yankees have let go hitting coach Marcus Timms and third base coach Phil Nevin.
That was just make moves to make moves.
That was all right.
Next move is
you know what it reminds me of? You know what it reminds me of, Brett, is obviously in sports and in football, the guy who shows up late and the coach makes him watch the rest of the team run on the sideline. That's what that reminds me of.
Yeah.
It's like get your stuff together, Aaron.
Great
or you're
example.
next.
Yeah.
Or you're next. So that didn't really do anything for me besides just show me that.
Well, Aaron Boone's got to know he's next.
Well, yes, and
again,
that's
that 11 and 19 start next year, he's out.
Yeah, Steinbrenner's letting him know, hey man, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt one more season. If you don't get it done, you are toast.
When we do baseball predictions next spring, that's one that you could pick for manager of the year and first manager to be fired.
Yep, both. But yeah, some firings, and they're going to have to figure out how they're going to replace Mike Schilt. And I guess with the Yankees, Aaron Boone's going to have to make some good hirings, and he better start showing what he can do with that Yankees roster. But on the other side, very interesting guest we're going to bring on, Paul Banks. Paul wrote a book called Transatlantic Passage, and it's about how the English Premier League, we don't talk a lot of soccer on here, but we're going to talk it in the next segment. It's about how the English Premier League redefined soccer in America, how it made it over the pond, and how we talk about it now, how we enjoy it. And he had a full chapter about someone we're very familiar with 901 FC and elsewhere around the city, Tim Howard. And I want to discuss that. Brett and I will discuss that with him when we come back right here on Sportstime with Gabe and Stats.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you are treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
AC trouble? Call Air Doctors of Memphis, 901-598-HVAC. Owner Matt Davis is a third-generation full-service air conditioning specialist. Air Doctors of Memphis services all major brands, and labor and parts are guaranteed 100%. Their yearly AC checkup is only $60. Then this year, Air Doctors is the official HVAC contractor for St. Jude Dream House. Air Doctors installed the St. Jude Dream House new Train high-efficiency equipment. Get your service from the best. AirDoctorsOfMemphis.com. Call 901-598-HVAC.
Barks now offers you just about everything you need for your furry family member. Daycare, luxury boarding, award-winning grooming, veterinary checkups, diagnostic services including digital x-ray, fluoroscopy, and ultrasound, complete dental service, vaccinations, preventative care for fleas, ticks, and heartworms, and just about any needed surgical treatment. And did I mention that we treat cats and all types of exotic pets? We are the newest member of the Barks family and the newest, most high-tech veterinary hospital in the Mid-South. Located directly across the street from Barks and Recreation, we are a full-service hospital with a fantastic, experienced staff. If you're having problems getting a timely appointment at your current vet's facility, we are here to serve you. Call us at 901-979-8888. Barks and Medication. Excellence in veterinary care.
I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Brett, things in the restaurant are fine, but like all restaurateurs will tell you, things are still not back to normal. Supply chains are interrupted. One week we can't find charcoal. Another week we're short on ribs. Another week they can't find the plastic bottles to fill our sauce jars with. I've watched in awe as our fellow Memphis restaurateurs have worked their way through these past months.
John, always new and exciting things at the Rendezvous.
People know we have Greek salad, vegetarian red beans and rice, and vegetarian nachos. But now we have desserts. Miss Barbara of O Taste and See has individually wrapped some wonderful desserts. We have key lime pie, chess pie, chocolate chess pie, and pecan pie. Not pecan pie, pecan pie. We also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes a mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis.
At Napa, buy a 5-quart jug of Mobil 1 motor oil and save $10 on a pair of wiper blades. It's the perfect autumn deal. Mobil 1 for colder weather, new wipers for the rain, and an extra $10 to buy Halloween candy you'll most likely eat yourself. We're not judging. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. At participating locations does not include taxes and fees. Advertised sale price not available in some states. Ends 10/31/21.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back in on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and the Stats. And it is time to bring in a very special guest, Paul Banks, at Paul M. Banks on Twitter. He has written a book called Transatlantic Passage, How the English Premier League Redefined Soccer in America. Paul, how are you?
Good, man. I'm actually doing this spot with my feet in a swimming pool outdoors on a rooftop, believe it or not. And it's mid-October.
Look at
Crazy.
you, Paul.
Where at?
I'm in downtown Chicago, and it's 67 degrees right now. So, to me, that's swimming weather.
Well, enjoy it because you're not going to have many of those left.
Can't complain.
But the Premier League, they did for the United States what the NASL once dreamed of. They brought soccer into the fore, didn't they?
Yeah, that's a very great point. Like the New York Cosmos, when the NASL was trying to do, the Cosmos were a thing, but the rest of the league really wasn't. But now you've got people who wake up at 6 in the morning to go to pubs and pack the place. And, I know it's on the other side of the state there.
Oh, we're losing you, Paul.
Matches in Nashville and all the, when the International Champions Cup comes and the Premier League stage their exhibition friendlies down there.
So Paul, for you, where did your soccer fandom start?
Oh, it began with one of those international showcase matches, actually. It was back in 2011 when Manchester United came to Chicago, and Sir Alex Ferguson used just basically like, the Vince Lombardi of soccer. He's like the Vince Lombardi, Bear Bryant, John Wooden combined, actually. He's that.
We're having some connection issues with
following.
Paul,
and from there, it just. Hello?
We got you back. We seem to be you're going in and out, but we got you now. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. When Manchester United was here in 2011, it was just massive. And to see Sir Alex Ferguson and get the chance to interview him and meet him, he's like the Vince Lombardi, the John Wooden, the Bear Bryant of soccer combined. It was just massive. And then when I saw, that it was a world thing and how the internet, a big difference was the communication technology and how you could basically cover a team from anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm. Paul, can we appreciate? I know the answer is we can't. Can we understand the gravity of what a big deal Tim Howard is over there compared to here?
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure. I mean, one person that I interviewed for the book once said, it's kind of comparable to SEC football, the rivalries, a matter of life and death. He's like, no, I assure you it's much bigger than that. And Tim Howard is a guy who is one of the, probably the best goalkeeper in Everton history, and that's one of the big 5 classic clubs. They're not what they used to be, but back in the day they were higher up. And he's somebody who's made it at both Manchester United and Everton, on top of, putting in the most probably dominating performance by a goalkeeper in the World Cup ever in 2014. I mean, how many people get a call from the U.S. Secretary of Defense and get invited to the Pentagon for how they do in a sporting event, right?
Right. And, Paul, one of the biggest things I think for me growing up, for a lot of people growing up with soccer, is the tropes that sort of surround the game, especially here in America, is how it's not as physical. It's not as, and for me growing up, interestingly enough, it not as manly, those type of things. How far has soccer in America come in regards to getting over those tropes?
Well, I think it's going to be really up to the national team because we've got all these great individual stars who are playing in Europe for the best teams. And as they begin to make more of a name for themselves, and as they begin to really establish themselves and have those moments playing through the pain, some of these collisions that happen, there is a concussion problem in soccer, and that kind of tells you just how physical it can get.
Right. Yeah.
And the more we start to see that happen, then the more the national team will come together and establish themselves. And I think that's going to be a big unifier.
Paul, what is the best soccer market in the United States?
That's a tough one. You've got the Pacific Northwest corridor up there. That's really huge with Vancouver and Portland. Orlando's really big. Florida. I'd say Washington, D.C. is always up there in terms the ratings. You do have Coastal, but that's not really. There's a lot of inland markets too. Columbus is a big one. Texas, Austin's another one. Los
Can
Angeles.
Nashville thrive?
Nashville's definitely thriving, and again, it's going to be up to the national team to really put on a showcase. I mean, there's such a great atmosphere in Nashville when they have hosted these games, and and then of course you look at Memphis 901 FC, having a guy like Tim Howard, and that's only going to help more. I mean, he just played 6 times last year. It was crazy.
And Paul, it's so interesting to me just how fanatic the fans are around soccer. Where exactly? Because we have the 901 Mafia that goes from the bar, shows up to AutoZone Park, and cheers as loud as they can humanly cheer. Where does that type of fandom come from?
Well, I think it's definitely the interactivity of it. I mean, there's something about soccer where there's that constant hum in the background. There's that constant noise of the chanting, the singing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the greatest guys that I interviewed for the book was a dude who dressed up like Teddy Roosevelt and went down to Brazil for the 2014 World Cup. He's a big Tottenham Hotspur fan. His nickname is Teddy Roosevelt. And you get that kind of, because you have to be on your feet the whole time and you're really engaged with it. I think that's what makes such a big difference.
Last thing here for you, Paul. Christian Pulisic right now, midfielder for Chelsea, one of the stars overseas right now, and he is an American-born player and obviously plays on the national team, what have you. How important is it going to be for him to be an advocate in the U.S. of the game of soccer?
Well, we've had role players who've been at big clubs and done well, and we've had star players who've been at, not as big clubs overseas. But he's the first guy. I mean, during Project Restart, during the second half of the 1920 season, he was as good as just about anybody in the Premier League. And he could be the first star player at a big club, and everything kind of flows through that. I mean, when he's playing in Champions League, when he's playing in a big game, you can see it on Twitter. People look to him. I mean, his nickname is Captain America for a reason, and everything kind of flows through that. And as long as he can stay healthy, and as long as he can, live up to all his potential, I mean, he could be the greatest American ever.
Absolutely. He is Paul Banks, Paul M. Banks on Twitter. Where do we send our listeners to go find your work and your book?
Sportsbank.net. There's a page devoted just to the book. Just go up to the sportsbank.net and click on Premier League book. Or just follow me on Twitter, and it's the pinned tweet straight up at the top. You can find me on Twitter at Paul M. Banks, and you can also go to EckhartzPress.com. That's ECKHRTZ.com.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you,
we
Paul.
appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was a lot of fun.
You got it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it is interesting to think about the transition that we have had as far as soccer goes to getting the English Premier League to where it is in this country. I mean, for a while there was some resistance, and it is really a global game that the U.S.
The
I don't
TV
think
numbers show it.
Oh, and it's
Memphis
huge.
always ranks real high in that.
I know, and it's just it has been a process, and I think that process is working. And it's done a lot.
I can't wait to do our World Cup bracket next summer.
And I don't think we've given it enough credit for how far it's come, and really what's a short period of time too.
It really has.
But that was Paul Banks. You can go find his book on his Twitter, Paul M. Banks, or on sportsbank.net. When we come back on the other side, Alan Bell joins us. We appreciate him joining us at 5 o'clock today. We had to move it around for the Navy-Tiger game, but he will join us from CBS Sportsline to talk about some of the weekend's action when we come back.
It's finally fall, and that means it's time for the baseball playoffs and the beginning of the Grizzlies season. And there's no better place to enjoy those games than at Sweetgrass Next Door in the heart of Cooper Young. Along with the longtime favorite menu items like shrimp and grits and the beef carpaccio, there are lots of new menu items created by real chefs for you to enjoy. And you'll really enjoy the Tall Boys six-packs for just $15. If you love baseball and the Grizzlies and great food and great drink prices, you can't beat Sweetgrass Next Door, Memphis's great neighborhood bar in the heart of Cooper Young.
Ian Eagle and Ross Tucker here from Westwood One with a preview of Thursday Night Football. It's an NFC matchup to start Week 6 as the Super Bowl champion Buccaneers travel to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Ross, break it down for us.
Well, listen, Tom Brady and the Bucs offensively, they are a machine right now, so the Eagles are going to have to play like they did against the Panthers. That means the D-line's going to have to get after Brady, be opportunistic on the back end. But really, even so, I think it'll have to be Jalen Hurts' best performance, as the Eagles are just going to have to match them score for score. I picture it being a high-scoring game, and the Eagles have to hold serve.
Join us for all the primetime action, the Buccaneers at the Eagles, coming up on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Time for an oil change? We've got what you need to check it off your list. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline Max Life High Mileage Motor Oil and an STP oil filter, plus an STP air filter or cabin air filter, all for just $35.99. And you can get it all fast, your way. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Start your job today at AutoZone.com. Restrictions apply.
Golfers, it's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with Mizuno irons and wedges. The JPX 921 Hot Metal Pro, Tour, and Forged irons offer Mizuno's fastest ball speeds ever. And the new T22 wedges feature 4 different sole grinds for varying techniques and conditions. Come in and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, and shop online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Hi, folks. I keep hearing about a shortage of good vehicles to purchase these days. Well, I can fix that. Just follow me to Auto Universe Germantown. I was blown away by the amount of high-quality vehicles they have. Something they call affordable luxury, and I would agree. And talk about variety. How about Lexus, Infiniti, Audi, Jeep, not to mention, but I will anyway, Mercedes, Nissan, Honda, Chevy, and Toyota. Tremendous pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, and they're always adding more. Hey, I know this family. They have everything we want under one roof. No haggle affordable pricing, simplified financing, top service technicians, even collision repair. Remember the old Mazda location in Germantown? That's where they're located, 7300 Winchester, and online at eautouniverse.com. So take it from me, if you want to avoid the new car price but still want a luxury, slightly loved vehicle, head on over to Auto Universe Germantown. Would I steer you wrong? Get it? At Auto Universe Germantown, only the best make it here.
Hockey season is in full swing, and there's no better place to bet on the NHL than FanDuel Sportsbook. NHL parlays are the perfect way to make every shot feel like a hat trick. You could turn a little bet into a big payday. And all season long, FanDuel is giving every customer NHL parlay insurance. You'll get up to $25 back each day if your parlay falls one leg short. Don't have a FanDuel account? Well, that's easy. Sign up now using promo code BIGHEAD to place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. FanDuel is always hooking you up with great odds and exclusive offers. Plus, when you win, you'll get paid out in as little as 24 hours. This season, make every moment more and bet on the NHL with FanDuel Sportsbook. And remember to use promo code BIGHEAD so they know I sent you. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Parlay insurance max refund $25 per day. Risk-free bet for first online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days for parlay insurance and 14 days for risk-free bet. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call TN Redline 1-800-889-9789.
It's hot outside and your air conditioner just quit. Quick, who do you call? Automatic Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing, of course, with 24-hour emergency service available. Automatic understands your house is unique, so they work fast to find the right solution for your family's comfort and budget needs. And with financing available and payments as low as $75 a month, it's never been easier to make your home comfortable. Call 363-4636 or go online to itsautomatic.com. Turn to the experts at Automatic Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back in and rolling. There's the Grateful Dead you were waiting for,
The
Brett.
upset of the year with frontman John Mayer.
This ain't John Mayer, I'll tell you that much.
No, that's Jerry.
This ain't John Mayer. Welcome to hour number 3. It's always brought to you by...
That's when you had to do shrooms to get in the concert.
The rite of passage. They gave you a bag on the way in. They gave you a bag on the way in. But this is hour number 3, always brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Let's go ahead and bring on our friend, CBS Sports Line at Alan Bell 247. Alan Bell,
so kind to join us. Thank you, Alan Bell.
Thanks for switching your schedule around, man.
Hey, of course, boys. Hey, if I could be adaptable for you guys, I mean,
we appreciate it.
You know we appreciate it.
All right, so with that, you got to give our listeners a winner tonight between Tom Brady and Jalen Hurts.
Ooh, against the spread?
Yeah.
Let's see here.
We'll take the money line play.
This one right here, this is tougher than on the surface, right? Obviously, you have a
very
because
I didn't interrupt you. Yeah, go ahead.
The Eagles. The one thing that I've noticed about that Eagles team, they have exactly, as far as D-line goes, they have exactly what it takes to get pressure on Tom Brady and make him uncomfortable with those 2 inside D tackles.
Bingo. Dude, thank you so much for saying that because that's exactly how you get to quarterbacks.
Right.
Especially Brady. Internal pressure. They'll come around the edge.
Right in his
He'll
face.
step in the pocket and kill you, right? He's been doing that for 20 years. You go internal pressure, man, right at the gut. That's how you get after him. 2, there's a lot of factors in this game. These 2 teams are the 2 most penalized teams in the NFL. Mm-hmm. The Eagles' defense alone, off penalties, have given 17 free first downs to teams this season. All right? Now, you look at the Eagles, okay? This defense plays they play kind of right into what Brady wants, all right? Mm-hmm. They play zone 82% of the time this season, all right? Now, Brady has been destroying zones, and I won't go deep into the numbers here. To answer your question, I think I like the Eagles at 7 or 7.5. Below that, I think I would take the Bucks. So that shows you, like, we're right at that number right there.
That is, it's such a tricky game, and obviously the Tom Brady thumb injury as well would come into consideration here. Curiously though, what have you thought of Jalen Hurts as a quarterback so far this year?
I like the kid. He's tough as hell. He's exactly who he was in college, right? Like, he's not the most prolific quarterback passer in the game, right? Like, he's not Trevor Lawrence. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's not Peyton Manning coming out, guys like that. But the guy is pretty good, and he gives you everything that he has. He'll use his legs when he needs to, but he doesn't rely on them. He wants to beat you from the pocket or right outside the pocket, as, most quarterbacks now do. So I like the kid, man. Like, he doesn't have a ton to work with. Their offensive line has just been decimated. Right. So it's like, that's very important to bring up. And the guy's in games. Like, you got to give him credit for that. I like the kid.
Will that town be patient enough with him? Because it seems
that's
like
a great question.
You have to have a real appetite for the long haul with Jalen Hurts.
Let me tell you this. That town is lucky that the Continental Congress got to work quickly, because they'd have turned on them.
They sure would have. Ben Franklin, scram.
Literally, like, Philly turns on everybody. But, look, who knows? They've been negative on Jalen Hurts for a while before the season started. I don't know. They just got rid of a coach who has a statue out front.
Won a Super Bowl in Philly.
I know. So, who knows, man? But the dude's better than he gets credit for. He's a tough guy.
One of the bigger games this week and obviously we watched him on Monday Night Football and Lamar Jackson. He was unbelievable in coming back in that game against the Colts. But this week is a huge challenge. Ravens, Chargers. Chargers are going to visit. Ravens actually getting they're a 2.5-point favorite right this second. This is one of the more interesting matchups of the week.
Yes, it is. And I'm just going to go ahead and say I like the Chargers in this one with the points. It's going to be a tight game. What I worry about with Baltimore, and we saw it on Monday night, you're right, it was an incredible comeback. But Baltimore, offensively, finds itself, they're right in, kind of a fork in the road. They want to pass more, and they're doing well with it. But they got away from that really quickly when it wasn't working, and they started trying to run Lamar more and more. And that works in spurts, but they're gonna have to keep with their passing game, and they did, and it ended up working out quite well for them. But the problem is that they just can't. You can't play from behind in the NFL every week. You just can't do it, right? And this team is talented, but you just cannot do it because a good team is going to whoop you, and a bad team is still going to beat you, right? So
Right.
That's my concern here. It could be a tough matchup. Los Angeles has a pretty good secondary. They got a D-line that'll get after you too. So, yeah, if you're giving me points to the Chargers, I'll take it.
And if you want to talk about two quarterbacks that here in a few years are going to get paid a ridiculous amount of money, this is the game you need to watch this week.
It is. You're right.
Fantastic matchup between those quarterbacks. It starts early again on Sunday morning, back to home of the Hotspur, playing at Tottenham on Sunday morning. Dolphins and Jags. Urban Meyer, I don't want to make too much light of it because it was rather ugly week for John Gruden, but Urban Meyer is glad John Gruden came along, Alan. It knocked him out of the news.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he absolutely is. Let me say this about this game. So normally I would say it's a home game for the Jaguars, but this is pretty much a brand new Jaguars team. Like, this isn't the same team as even 2 years ago, right? No same coaches,
Sure.
brand new quarterback. So, this is all new to them. So I'm going to take that part out of it. The problem is that the Jaguars are actually playing pretty good, and they're getting better week by week. Trevor Lawrence is getting better. His passes are getting more accurate. He's cutting down on the interceptions. He's going to be playing at a pretty good level. They're not a good team, but he's getting better. The Dolphins, they should be 0-5.
Mm-hmm.
If they didn't get that win week one against the Patriots, against Mac Jones in his first ever game, they would have 0 wins. Like, this team has gone just down the tank. And they're playing a little bit better, but not that much better. At some point, the Jaguars are going to get one. It's going to happen. And I think that it's this week. I think that it is this week.
What happened to Tua?
I don't know, man. You couple an injury in with a team that it's always fascinating when we have teams that spike, a year early, and then teams, we'll have two of them, and one of them the next season continues and goes up, and the other one just falls flat. And that's kind of that Dolphins team. It's not all us. It's the entire team. But he wasn't great to begin with either.
And he was supposed to be the savior.
Yeah, there are some internal problems that team needs to work on that's bigger than Tua. But yeah, I mean, him or Brissett, they haven't helped much at all.
Yeah, their O-line is so bad, though, too.
They've
done a horrible job of trying to retool that O-line, and that was the biggest thing Brian Flores needed to do. And it's crazy what a year does for a coach, because now in Miami, they are calling for his head, but we'll see how they climb themselves up out of the dumps if they can at all. How much is the John Gruden news affecting how you're looking at the Raiders-Broncos game this week?
No, I jumped all over the Broncos immediately. And let me say this.
It affected you.
Yeah,
I'd
say so.
Well, it did, but, I was already kind of looking at it anyway, and I'll tell
That's
you
all
why.
you needed.
Take the Gruden part out of it. All right, you're looking at a Raiders team the last 2 weeks. Offensively, they went in a shell. Their offense, their yards per play went from about 10 and a half yards to about 3. Offensively, they've been a disaster the last 2 weeks. They only scored 9 points at home against the Bears. They looked atrocious. And you're going up against a Broncos team who's lost 2 straight at home in a division game, backs against the wall, has to win.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows it. Everyone's on the same page. The coaches said it to the team, to the media. Everybody that wants to know, we have to win this week. So they're all on the same page. This Raiders team, nobody's on the same page. Nobody, right? One of your best players, Carl Nassib, needed to take a day, and rightfully so. Totally understand it. So usually when you have a coach that gets fired, it's kind of a good thing because you know that it's coming. It's a sigh of relief in the locker room. It's done. You can kind of just breathe again. Nobody expected this. So I think that, focus is probably out the window. You've got somebody new in the headset calling plays, right? Like, there's just so many changes. But I'm all over the Broncos this week, all over, especially at home, all over.
Monday night in Nashville, and I think every time they have a Monday night game, I say this to you, and we're talking around that game. I've never, of all the fun things I've gotten to do in sports, I've never been to Monday night football. Alan, what is that like to go to? I know you'll probably be there Monday night, and this is a series that once had the biggest miracle ever occur between the Bills and the Titans in the Music City Miracle.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the energy's there. It's fantastic.
Downtown's got to be great on that night.
Oh, it's gonna be phenomenal, right? The tough part is that this game might be over in the first or second quarter. The Bills are that good. Yeah. I mean, and they're going to do it to everybody. Their last 4 regular season road games, they've won all of them by 18 points or more. In fact, that game against the Chiefs last week, that was the closest one that they've had. Even the good Lord with a lightning strike couldn't stop the Bills' offense. I mean, that's just what they do. They're incredible. They've got the number one, scoring offense in the NFL. They got the number one scoring defense in the NFL, and they followed the blueprint of the Chiefs, for the last couple of years of building that team, and they just didn't stop. Like, they just kept going. This team, I don't want to praise them too much, but they deserve it. They are incredibly well built, and they play aggressive. Like, when you watch a Chiefs game, third quarter, they kind of take a lull. The Bills don't do that. Right. All they know is aggressive, play on offense and defense. They throw the ball constantly. They just don't stop. Like, they get stronger as the game goes, and you just get into a black hole where there's just nothing that you could do.
Now with the Chiefs, I know this week it's a down game. They're playing the football team. Football team's defense has looked dreadful through the first few weeks. But how are you viewing the Chiefs now after seeing them lose 3 games?
Yep, I'll tell you this. If you saw the first and especially the first quarter, but the first and the second quarter of that Chiefs-Bills game, did you notice something about the Chiefs' offense? And this has to do with their defense too, which is the biggest problem. But they were actually using their offense as a defense. They were trying to run 11, 12, 13-play drives to keep their defense off of the field and not in the game. It was completely different than what the Chiefs have ever done offensively, because usually they just go out and if they score in 2 plays, they score in 2 plays. They don't really care. They were legitimately trying to run 3 to 4 yard plays and then score touchdowns. Like, that is completely different than the mantra of what they've been and how they're built. I saw a thing earlier this week about Eric Bieniemy talking about how they're trying to get Patrick Mahomes to calm down and not try to be as aggressive as possible. So that goes to tell you right there that they're fundamentally changing the way that they play because their defense is that bad. So they've got problems. I mean, they could explode at any moment, and that's the most difficult part of betting, against them. But it ain't good, man. And let's be honest. If they didn't pull that miracle in week 1, they'd have 1 win.
That's right.
They'd have 1 win, man.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
And if Tom Brady doesn't have kind of that miracle win week 1, the Cowboys could be undefeated. Alan Bell with us talking all the odds and all the NFL. So in Kansas City, Washington, who's your pick there?
Washington. There's absolutely there's no reason to bet on the Chiefs. There's no reason. They have not given any modicum of faith betting on them. So I will fade them every single week.
Okay. All right. Tonight here locally in about an hour and 11 minutes, the Memphis Tigers with the 3-game losing streak. All of them shoulda, coulda, woulda, but didn't. Now 3 up, 3 down. About a 10.5, 11-point favorite over the Navy. Give us your intel on that, and then we'll talk about the Ole Miss-Tennessee game. And those 2 defenses might try what the Chiefs are doing in protecting their defenses a little bit.
Yeah, that game's going to be fascinating. Look, I think that what you just said about Memphis is why they get the job done tonight. They're going to win the game, and the 11 points, they'll cover that too. I've already bet on Memphis. I feel comfortable with them. Look, Memphis is going to score points. And they're going to play a little defense tonight, too. And you look at Navy's offense, they're only averaging, 60 yards in the air, this season. Now, don't be wrong. They're averaging 220 yards on the ground. But I just don't see that. They'll go, obviously, over 100, but this isn't going to be some 225-yard rushing game that they have tonight. And couple that with a Memphis team, like you said, that's kind of found, way after way after way to lose games. That we've all been around sports, and it sucks when you're involved in the middle of that. But you always reach a point where you just say, forget it, and you just go out and you just take
Start a new streak.
Right? Yeah, you just go out and you just play aggressive. I'm just going to hit everything that's in front of me. Forget it. I'm just going to catch everything in front of me. Forget it. And I think that Memphis has that game tonight. I think that they explode. So Memphis to win, Memphis to cover, all over both.
Real quick with Clemson this year, where they're completely eliminated from just about everything that they probably hoped.
Have y'all checked
that they
out some
wouldn't
of
be
their bowl
eliminated
scenarios?
From.
Do Clemson fans even know how to get to some of those towns?
What? I mean, what, Quick Lane Bowl? I don't even know what they would be up for with the ACC.
Idaho for one.
I'd say they're bottom of the ACC bowls at this point. But they still are getting relatively big numbers, traveling to Syracuse, and they're 13.5-point favorites. Is there any way, right this second, with the way Clemson's offense has been playing, that you're laying that amount of points?
No chance. Because here's the thing with Clemson. They're not only a shell of what they've been, both in results and the actual team, right? But two, they've been absolutely consistent with that. Yeah. There's been no change. You know exactly who this Clemson team is. It's not that they're up, down, like in Oklahoma. You just don't know what you're going to get. Now, Clemson has been exactly that. You know exactly what you're going to get. And there's zero reason to take them at absurd numbers like that, especially on the road.
Why are the numbers like that, though? That's the one thing that's been confusing me every week.
The public. Because, look.
They know that the public will take it?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And you guys know it. When Vegas books put out a number, it's not always what they think is the perfect line.
It's not for giggles.
All they got to do is drum up business. Yeah. Right, so it's that 13.5 could be a complete lie, but they know, they're like, we can get away with it. I'm going to bet it because it's Clemson, and they keep doing it.
Have you ever? Would you like to spend a week, a month, 6 weeks in that inner sanctum of how Vegas chops it up?
I tell you what, I spent a weekend at right before the Super Bowl 2 years ago. With one of our partners, Caesar Sportsbook, with CBS Sports. And I'll say this, not to give away any secret sauce, because you're right. I mean, there's so much that we didn't get to see. But I will say this. You look at sports like the NFL, college football, if they have 100 employees, they have 95 that are on them.
Yeah.
Where sharps find their plays is Belmont basketball, right? UT Martin basketball, right? Because they know these teams. And they know that these books, they don't have a UT Martin guy sitting in there like, oh, dude, I'm telling you, watch this, So it's fascinating. But yes, when it comes to these big teams and big games, man, to see that algorithm and the guys working,
it's for keeps.
Yeah, it's worth a lot of money. I'll say that.
Yeah.
All right, Ole Miss, Tennessee. The over under the total is at 83. It keeps climbing up. Tennessee, 2.5-point dogs. Which way?
So I'm going to go. I'm going to go Ole Miss to win. I'm going to go Ole Miss to cover. And the line, I'll say this: if anybody out there is betting Tennessee with the points, you might as well just take the money line, right? I think it's going to be one of those games to where either Ole Miss wins by 20 or Ole Miss loses by 20. I think that it's going to be one of those. And in terms of the total, that is an absurd number, just absurd. And I know that both offenses can go. But I also know that, what? Both of their defenses have to practice against that every day, right? So it's if you're looking at a number of 83 and it's continued to go up, what do we need? One punt? Literally, so it's going to be high scoring. Don't get me wrong.
But not out of the question at 83.
Oh, heck no. It's absolutely not out of the question at all. But I can see it being, to where we have, even if we have half of a quarter, and I don't know what quarter that would be, but if we have half of a quarter to where both offenses kind of go into, an incomplete fest, and we get a punt or two, or we get, kind of a turnover at the 50, a fumble or something on either team, right? I'm going to take my chances with the under. It can certainly hit the over, absolutely, but I'm going to take my shot on that. But I think that Ole Miss is the better team. I think the better offense. They certainly got the better quarterback. And I like Hooker at Tennessee, but Matt Corral's Matt Corral. So, I'll take Ole Miss to win the game, cover, and then give me the under.
Alan, how would you like to be the poor guy out there that had the over for the first quarter last Saturday in Oxford between Ole Miss and Arkansas? And you only get seven in a game that produces 103.
Unbelievable. Like, first off, that is unbelievable. And the fact that, like, to you guys' point, like what you were just saying, like, that's the scary part of betting the under is that at any moment, like, it can go nuclear on both sides.
We almost had overtime, too, to get more points.
That's a great point. I didn't even think about that. That's a great point. You're right. It could have been 100.
Oh, that was the upset of the year. 7-zip at 10-1.
Just unbelievable. And then the way the game ends, like literally the last second, like that was just an incredible game.
Alan, I've watched the replay of it in full 3 times now. Every time I watch it, I see someone go, I don't remember that at all. That's amazing. That happened in that game. And I'm paid to be there.
A lot of action.
I know. It's like, how did I miss 2 different 70-yard touchdowns? And I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, I think I read a stat that no receiver or player for Ole Miss had over, 3 receptions.
That's correct.
Something. Yeah, it was just
Braylon Sanders had 2.
Yeah, you're like, are you going 11 deep at wide receivers here? You know what I mean? It's just it was just an incredibly crazy game, but it's fun to watch, man.
That box scores in the box score Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Yeah. That clock operator with 1 second left cost me a lot of people had Ole Miss covered. I'm a little upset on that one.
He may not be back for the LSU game.
We love catching up with Alan Bell.
Thank you, Alan Bell.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it, boys. Thank you.
Enjoy it. Alan Bell with us. Usually on Friday, he was so kind to accommodate us this week and move to Thursday. This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. Check out the website, DeSotoAutoSales.com, and head down to DeSoto County, where DeSoto Auto Sales is very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. All the cars test-driven, all checked out bumper to bumper, all checked out so very thoroughly. And every make, every model, if it's not on the lot, they'll go find that special car just for you. You walk in, you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere. They care about your time. They want you to have the ultimate car experience. They know we live in a world today that time matters. That's why you walk in, find the car you want, test drive that car, credit approved, paperwork completed. You're out of there in 45 minutes or less. They keep it that simple. You could go right now and be at the stadium in time for the Tiger game at 6:30 against Navy. Very proud to serve DeSoto County. Head on down to 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. DeSoto Auto Sales, that town and country experience you've come to know and love.
So you heard Alan Bell's pick on the game tonight. Buccaneers at Eagles. He thinks the Eagles can keep it close at home, stay within the 7. When we come back, we'll give you our picks on that, and we'll break down Thursday Night Football right here on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
The all-new Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Tiger Nation, your 2021 NIT champion Memphis Tigers are back and ready to make a splash in the American Conference. Season tickets are on sale now. Don't miss a minute of the action with the #1 recruiting class and a brand new coaching staff with Hall of Famer Larry Brown and former NBA star Rasheed Wallace. To lock in your seats for all the action and excitement, call 901-678-2331 or visit GoTigersGoTix.com today.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One with a Thursday Night Football preview from Philadelphia. NFC action coming up when Jalen Hurts and the Eagles take on the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady's coming off a 400-plus yard game with 5 touchdowns against the Dolphins. Head coach Bruce Arians says Brady and the Bucs offense have hit their stride, especially in the red zone.
For Tom, he sees and he's got a lot of weapons. So, yeah, I mean, there's a contribution from everybody, and he trusts guys. So his understanding of what we're trying to get done inside the 25 and outside the 25, when we start hitting, he still can throw that deep ball as good as anybody.
Philadelphia's off to a 2-3 start, coming off a comeback win over the Panthers. Ian Eagle and Ross Tucker will call the action of the Bucs at the Eagles on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
For the ones going above and beyond. For the ones reaching out, helping out, and lending a hand. For the ones people count on. You can count on Grainger. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. Backed by 24/7 customer support and specialists to help with hard-to-find products. Because you've got everyone's back. We've got yours. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Working at Gateway Tire is not just a job, it's a profession. They're looking for career-minded people who want to advance their career in the auto industry. With 5-day work weeks, paid vacation, insurance, 401k plans, and much more, you'll enjoy their hometown approach to customer service. Come by and make Gateway Tire and Service Center the right step for your career.
At Gateway Tire, we go the distance for you.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Big matchup tonight, Thursday Night Football. Bucs 4-1, visiting the Eagles, who are at 2-3. Bucs are 7-point favorites. We got Alan Bell's pick. Alan thinks that the Eagles can keep this one close, plus the points. But this is an interesting matchup, considering what Jalen Hurts has been able to do. And I don't know if you knew this exactly, Brett, but Jalen Hurts so far this year, 65% completion percentage, 1,365 yards passing, 7 TDs, 3 INTs, and he added rushing yards, 43 rushes, 256 yards, 3 TDs. But tonight, as far as passing yards go, he needs 216 yards to become the first player to average 250 pass yards and 50 rush yards in his first 10 starts. So he could go into NFL history if he has a good night passing.
And that's something, because in that town, he's being compared to our expectation of Donovan McNabb.
Yes, he is. If you guys want to join the conversation, tell us your pick for tonight, 901-360-8255 on the text line.
And, of course, we're picking the Tigers in a little bit.
Yes, we will pick that as well. With this game tonight, I really, looking at it, when I started the week, thought that the Bucs could run away with it. I don't think the Eagles are an overly good team. Defensively, they're not really all that fantastic. But when you look at how teams have beaten Tom Brady, and I referred to this earlier talking with Alan Bell, they have 2 guys in the middle of that D-line that press the pocket and get after the quarterback better than anybody in the NFL. Best duo.
Fletcher Cox is something to watch.
And also, Javon Hargrave. Do you realize he's at 6 sacks already this year?
I did not realize that.
6 sacks this year. And if you press the pocket against Tom Brady, especially with that hurt thumb, that's how he hurt the thumb last week, is following through and hitting a helmet because the pocket got pressed. If you do that to Tom Brady, you can make him very uncomfortable. And for the Bucs, their rush offense has been miserably bad this year.
Which is a surprise. I'm going to take Philly plus the 7.5 and just try to get there by that dreaded half point. It's there for a reason.
Yeah, I'm going to go plus the 7 as well. Bryant?
I'll take minus 7.5.
Oh,
yeah.
Look at you.
I hear you. I hear you going. You just wanted to go opposite. I hear you though. That's fine.
Just opposite of you, not stats.
But Jalen Hurts did want to get to this point. He is. I'm not sure if he'll ever be one of the premier passers in the NFL. But since he's been at Alabama, through Oklahoma and everything, I will never doubt that guy. He seems to be one of the harder workers in the NFL and football in general.
I think his high school coach was his dad.
Really?
In Channel View, right outside the Houston area, big time high school football. I think I'm right on that, and I've loved watching him. SEC Player of the Year as a freshman.
And he
didn't play defense against Clemson. That wasn't his fault.
And he has gotten every year of his career. He's gotten better at
passing. He really has. Kind of the sweet test of time.
He goes out of his way to do. I mean, I'm not always in college. They always made too much of the after game and after practice workouts that he did. I don't really fall into that category and going goo goo gaga over that type of thing. But he is a hard worker. We'll see what happens tonight. Brett and I take the Eagles plus the 7.5. And Bryant takes Bucks minus 7.5. Now Tigers
just to go against you.
Yeah, basically. Hey, we didn't. Our group locks have not been fantastic.
No, nothing
lately.
to write home about.
Now, tonight, Tigers, Navy, 6:30 ESPN game. Very happy to see it's an ESPN game.
Love Matt Berry. He will be on the national call for ESPN on the television. Love how he fought and advocated so hard for college football last year. And like his style, and
he has a very fun style.
Very fun style. It's an easy listen, and I think that matters.
Yes, he makes a lot of jokes throughout the broadcast, and he seems to have I do like his style.
Now we're keying off 10.5. That's what I gave it to y'all.
Yes,
we're
but it's grown. It's grown, correct?
We're going to keep it at 10.5.
I think we'll keep it at 10.5. And there's a lot going on with Navy, though. Navy this has been one of the more destabilized years in I would say program history.
Is he in trouble?
Ken's there as long as he wants to be there.
I used to think
there's no way that their athletic director is going to go up and fire him. Now, if he decides he wants to resign, or if there's the AD saying, all right, hey, maybe it's time to move out, maybe we all need to part ways, maybe this is best, maybe that's the situation. I don't see a firing, though. Do you?
I sure hope not, because he's had good years. He's had good service to that team. I'll go first. 10.5, 11.5, whatever you want to do it. Call it. Tigers 38-24 over the Navy.
Ooh, that's a good pick. I'm going to go Tigers. I think they cover. I'm going to go 31-13 Tigers.
Like it.
I'm going to go against Joe again. I'm going to say Navy covers. I think Navy's going to be able to run all over Memphis.
One in every crowd.
The one thing that I think...
Revoke your credentials tonight.
I think the one thing that I do think that the Tigers have going for them is last year, Mike McIntyre. I know this year has been tough as far as defense
plan last year,
but they had a fantastic plan, and it's not
copy and paste, run the same thing.
You know what, Brett? It's not complicated, though. That's the thing that I don't want to make it seem like Mike McIntyre has this fantastic plan, because the plan to beat Navy is not. Yeah, there's no. You should have a rover who's going to hit everything in sight, and everybody else is gap sound, and you're good generally.
Yeah. We're not talking about the Oppenheimer project here. It's pretty simple plan anytime you run up against the Navy. Tonight, I know a lot of us, we're going to be interested in college games. You can do this college or NFL at FanDuel. Week 6 tonight starts in the NFL, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week. Tonight is a great opportunity to give it a try. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10 tonight. Tom Brady and over in his passing yards, Jalen Hurts over in the rushing yards, and the over total points in the fourth quarter. That's my 3 SGP, fast payouts, easy to use, safe and secure, America's #1 sports book. I love having my app at the ready all football weekend long, college or pro. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet, so lock in your bet today on FanDuel Sportsbook and get up to $10 back if your bet doesn't win. New to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up today with promo code CASH to also receive 30-1 enhanced odds on tonight's matchup. Win $150 on a $5 bet. That's promo code CASH so they know I sent you. You got to be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund, $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and on the web. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Brett, elsewhere around football, we're still dealing with the blowback from the John Gruden resignation and all of the 650,000 emails that the NFLPA once released publicly. 10 former employees of the Washington football team are now asking NFL sponsors to sort of come to the rescue here, and they're wanting the sponsors to pressure the NFL to release the findings.
That's how you do it.
That's the only way you can do it. You affect the NFL's bottom line, they may budge. But with that, the NFL knows how much bad information is in those emails. That's the reason they're keeping them close to the vest.
It's just the tip of the iceberg. It's real bad. They're going to come out. They're going to get their hands on. Now, Derek Carr yesterday said he thinks every one of them should be disclosed. I don't know that every one, because then you're getting into private, sensitive, maybe money matters. But the NFL should appoint almost like a conservatorship, almost like a magistrate, like George Mitchell did for Major League Baseball, someone of that esteem. You go through them and you tell us which ones it should be out.
Yes,
we're not asking for somebody's credit
Derek
card
Carr
number.
wasn't even. He was saying every single owner, coach, GM, front office member should release their emails. Look, Derek, I know where you're coming from with this. First of all, I don't think everybody's going to have as bad of emails as John Gruden did. So I don't think it's all that valid. But at the same time, no, we can't.
And
we
it has
can't
to
do
stay
that.
germane.
Everybody would be in trouble to a certain extent, and
I don't need to hear how happy somebody might be with their nanny. I mean,
right.
I mean, you could go through the email and go, not germane, not important to this. Oh yeah, that is.
And then DeMaurice Smith yesterday was asked these questions. He was with Bomani Jones, I believe, of ESPN, and he said, he's asking questions. Is there anything about players or coaches' choice based on color of skin? And then he said something about how. Is there anything negative about players self-identifying? And I almost wanted to tell DeMaurice, we know how some of these, especially during the anthem protests, we know how some of these owners and coaches felt about that. I remember Jerry Jones saying that he would kick guys off the field. He wouldn't let them play if they didn't go out for the anthem.
And the late owner of the Texans, McNair, he got in a lot of trouble over things. So if they were saying it that vocally, you know it's there in private passage.
That's what I was saying. I was like, DeMaurice, if that is going to trigger people to get fired, we'd have a lot of people in front offices fired across the league.
This saved DeMaurice Smith, Gabe.
Yeah, he's looking more and more like a. I've never doubted that he was there for the players, but at the same time,
he hadn't produced.
There was just. It's different if you sort of admit that the owners and the league has the ultimate power over you. But it's another thing for me if you're going to talk trash and continue to send out emails and nothing actually comes to fruition. And that's the problem I've had with DeMaurice Smith over the years. It's just so much, a lot of talk and not a lot of results.
And how he ridiculed Gene Upshaw was disgraceful.
Yes, on the way in. That's basically how he got in, correct?
Yeah, that's how he rode in, yeah.
Yeah, that is very disgraceful. But we are to the end of the show. When we come back, we're going to wrap up this edition of the program with Taco Bell Crunch Time on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Woloshin, and I've moved now. You can catch me with all my friends from 10 to 11. We'll go all over the country to bring you whatever is happening that day. Wallow and Friends from 10 to 11 on Sports 56 and 98.5.
Golfers, it's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with Mizuno irons and wedges. The JPX 921 Hot Metal Pro, Tour, and Forged irons offer Mizuno's fastest ball speeds ever. And the new T22 wedges feature 4 different sole grinds for varying techniques and conditions. Come in and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, and shop online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you're looking for more out of your battery. We can help. If you're in need of higher performance, we'd go with Duralast Platinum. It's the best choice for premium power design for your vehicle. And the line now includes EFB and AGM technology, which means we've got the right Duralast Platinum battery for you. And they're only available here at AutoZone. That's why we're America's #1 battery destination. Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2020.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
The Relax at Home sale's going on now at Family Leisure. Enjoy a game of pool. How about shuffleboard with friends and family? Relieving aching muscles with full body massage chairs. They're the coolest. Chill out and watch a movie. Or the big game in style with the new theater seating. Also on sale, we got spas and saunas and patio furniture. It's the Family Leisure Relax at Home sale. Going on now, I-40 and Wynn Road, Family Leisure. For family and fun, come together.
Taqueria Express has a new location at 6290 Winchester with family deals every day. Mouth-watering chicken tacos, only 99 cents. 3 tacos with rice, beans, and fresh guacamole, only $6. And incredible signature dishes with chicken or beef chimichangas and homemade tortillas stuffed with fresh beans, rice, and cheese on top. If you're hungry, try Taqueria Express's gigantic Macho Burrito. Homemade with fresh flour tortilla, and you choose beef, chicken, pork, or shrimp. Includes beans, rice, melted cheese, lettuce, tomato, and sour cream. Fajita fans try Taqueria's delicious chicken or steak fajitas. Big enough for 2 people and only $10. If you're thirsty and want something unique, then try Taqueria drinks made from scratch, like melon and pineapple. Margaritas are buy one, get one free, and they got a little kick to them. For real Mexican food, Taqueria Express, 6290 Winchester. We'll see you guys there, and don't forget those strong margaritas. Buy one, get one free.
Memphis's oldest restaurant, Coletta's, was established in 1923 to give Memphians the best Italian food possible. And I'd say they got it right. They are the creators of the barbecue pizza. It was Elvis's favorite, and I know for a fact that a large will feed one person all weekend. If you need to feed several, though, Coletta's caters any event. Choose from homemade lasagna, ravioli, Alfredo, primavera, and so many other delicious items you can't help but enjoy. Impress employees or clients and treat them to Coletta's for lunch or dinner. Plan ahead and get your holiday party booked at Coletta's. Elvis's favorite place to go eat with his buddies at the South Parkway location, and Coletta's even has an Elvis room dedicated to him. Call Coletta's on South Parkway at 948-7652 or Appling Road at 383-1122. Coletta's. It was Elvis's favorite, and it should be yours too.
Stay tuned for Coletta's 100th anniversary coming up soon.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. So easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. Stock up heavy on all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
We've been talking Thursday night football in the NFL all day. We've gotten picks from Alan Bell. You've gotten picks from all of us. But you can hear all the action tonight on these airwaves. Bucks at Eagles, 7 p.m. Make sure you tune in if you want to listen to that game on these airwaves. But it is officially time for Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins. It's obviously crunch time.
hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Looking for something new at Taco Bell? Try the original tacos meets the instant classic, nacho fries. There's bound to be some magic. Nacho fries are essentially building blocks for culinary imagination. Slightly seasoned, go with bold spices. Warm nacho cheese and sour cream, loaded taco fries are covered with seasoned beef, nacho cheese sauce, ranch, tomato, and shredded cheese. In short, the legend of nacho fries lives on.
Brett, what I learned today is that at the ripe, young age of 90 years old, Captain Kirk has made it into orbit. William Shatner was launched into space on Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin rocket, I guess is what we should call it. But Captain Kirk has made it to space.
Wasn't that something? He didn't stay up there long though.
But
he got there.
Is he already back?
He's
back.
Same day.
And there was a video of him. He was in tears.
He was really moved. Were you?
I would
are
be
you
moved
a Trekkie? Are you a Star Wars fan?
No, I'm not.
Me either. I'm no sci-fi.
But,
I'm not much for fiction, much less science fiction. But that was remarkable.
And it is remarkable the fact that these basically billionaires are finding a way to just shoot whatever rocket they want up there. But by the way, Jeff Bezos needs to change the shape of his. It's a little suspect, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it's NASA approved.
No, I wouldn't think so either.
Learned today the Cardinals with another managerial change, and that's surprising. The Cardinal way has not been that. Went a long time. Tony La Russa was rock steady for so long. Then Mike Matheny, he was good, and then Mike Schilt, he drew some tough years. COVID year and some changes in the organization. I want to see adult supervision in St. Louis. No first-time manager, no out of the box. I want to go inside the box with something proven and tested.
And it's interesting because there's not that many options out there, Brett. But the farther we get into the offseason,
I want Buck Showalter.
I think it'll clear up the farther we get in the offseason. Buck Showalter is certainly an idea in regards to who could replace him. Now, what I could have done without, I want everyone to bear with me on this. I told Brett before the segment, bear with me on this. What I could have done without.
First time you've kind of made me nervous.
And not for what happened. Yeah. Washington football team is to retire Sean Taylor's 21. He's only the third retired number in history, and he joined Sammy Baugh, number 33, and Bobby Mitchell, who was number 49. And it's not because of Sean Taylor himself. He deserves this. He and his family absolutely 100% deserve that number retired. He was on his way to being one of the greatest safeties of all time. But the reason I could have done without it is because of the timing, Brett.
Yeah.
It's suspicious to me because a lot of the times with Dan Snyder, it's look at this shiny object. Look at me. Look at this PR move I'm making.
It's
look
deflection.
at all this. And it's not about – I just fear it's not about Sean Taylor himself because they should have done this a long time ago,
I'll say,
in my
Gabe,
opinion.
I almost question his sincerity.
That's exactly what I'm doing because this should have been done a while ago, but now amidst all these emails being leaked, amidst the John Gruden resignation, you do it.
A little deflection.
It's a little bit weird for me.
One of these days, don't you think we're going to see a Jeff Bezos Washington Post headline, WFT, WTF?
that would be a good one.
That would be a good headline.
Were you ever a writer?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We need to get you to write the headlines for them.
I could have done without. We talked about it. DeMaurice Smith. He didn't. Nobody deserved the ugly comments made about him, but he's kept his job through this, and now he's probably more entrenched than he ever was coming out of this week, and he was almost out 10 days ago.
Mm-hmm. DeMaurice has sort of been the face of this whole. It's just because because John Gruden came after him.
Yeah, but the Players Association still deserves a better. They deserve a better executive director.
He has become a victim in this situation, which he is. But that has sort of saved him from all of the outside noise of him probably being ousted as the NFLPA executive director. What we're looking forward to tonight, a whole lot. We got NHL. We got NBA preseason, if you're into that kind of thing. Grizzlies only have one more game in the preseason. Will be against the Bulls tomorrow.
They start to matter more at this point.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
It's for real next Tuesday.
Yeah, we have Navy visiting the Tigers tonight.
Tell me about ball security. Tell me about special teams.
Defense. See what you can do. Last year you held them to 7 points. Can you do it again?
You know, all the questions we don't have any questions about the freshman quarterback.
We don't. Besides the ball security. Just make sure we don't throw picks.
But we trust him. TB12 against Jalen Hurts tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You know that Eagles crowd will be nasty. That's what they do.
How about Georgia Southern at South Alabama?
I'm up
what
for
do you
it.
think?
I'll watch some.
What's that, Fun Belt?
That's the Fun Belt, but I'm going to watch. The game in town is the Tigers, and the Tigers have to win it.
Yes. And I think when we before the Tulsa game last week, you were talking fragility. Fragility conversation is loud and clear now. You have to win this game. You have to show that you can still compete in the AAC and win a game in the AAC.
What will be the freak-out factor if it's 4 in a row?
It'll be very high.
Yeah, it'll be bad.
It'll be very bad.
Especially
and I would expect
against
it to be.
the basketball.
And I would expect it to be. And tomorrow I'd expect to get a lot of calls from our listeners and conversate with them.
Win the game, don't have to worry about that.
About that, absolutely. But that's all we have for today. I would like to thank Greg Gaston, Keith Smith, Paul Banks. That was a very interesting conversation about the English Premier League. And Alan Bell. Thanks to you, the listeners, for joining us and joining the AutoZone text line. Bill Bender, Bruce Marshall, Drew Barrett will join us tomorrow. We'll also have our Friday football forecast. For Bryant, for Brett, I'm Gabe. Have a good rest of your day. Enjoy your night, and talk to us tomorrow at 3.
Southland Casino Racing is hiring, and they're betting $2,000 on you. Come to the Southland Job Fair this Thursday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., and you can get hired on the spot and earn a $2,000 signing bonus. Southland needs both full-time and part-time staff for food and beverage servers, bartenders, cooks, hosts, cashiers, dealers, security, and more. Ready to earn? Search jobs and apply online at dn.careers/Southland and go see them this Thursday between 11 and 3. Masks are required.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. School's back in. Are the kids going to be running out of hot water every morning? Or worse, are you going to be out of hot water by the time they leave? It may be time for a tankless water heater from Conway Services that never runs out of hot water. And since it only heats the water you use, you'll be saving money on your gas bill every month. At Conway Services, we're making now the perfect time to replace that old energy-guzzling tanked water heater with 12 months to pay, interest-free. Or I'll give you $250 for that old tanked water heater. See why I say now's the perfect time? And no more worrying about that tank bursting in your attic either. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier tankless water heater professionals at 384-3511. That's 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old water heater will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Looking to buy or sell a home in Mississippi? Don't know where to start? Rely on someone who has decades of calling Mississippi home. Someone who puts honesty, integrity, and clients first. Doug and Colin Brown, $1 million producers representing Regency Realty in Mississippi. This father-son combo will help you find your next dream home. Call Regency Realty at 901-350-5050 or direct at 901-598-9168 to schedule an appointment.
Hockey season, it's in full swing, and there's no better place to bet on the NHL than FanDuel Sportsbook. NHL parlays are the perfect way to make every shot feel like a hat trick. You can turn a little bet into a big payday. And all season long, FanDuel is giving customers NHL parlay insurance. You'll get up to $25 back each day if your parlay falls one leg short. Don't have a FanDuel account? Sign up now.